We've been serving Western Canada with those high-quality engine parts for highway trucks, farm machinery, heavy equipment, transit, and marine, and at a great price, too. Reach us at discountdiesel.ca and know that Discount Diesel's got the parts to get it done.
Sports 1440, Stingray Radio Station. CKJR broadcasts from West Edmonton Mall and Wetaskiwin.
Download the free Stingray music app and listen wherever you go.
Have your sports curiosity cured.
Down to Martel, into the winner. Walks out of the corner, feeds that back to Bruder with a shot to put the back.
A veteran of the sports reporting game for over 25 years.
Four. Smith is there. Jackson got away. Now reloads and throws to Flowers downfield. He's got it for a touchdown. They had Jackson. 2 Steelers. He escaped and finds Flowers, and the Ravens take the lead.
Breaking down Edmonton's favorite teams.
Hathaway, as you said, hasn't been in the lineup. Does that change his response? Maybe. Oh, here's the steal. Breakaway. Excellent. McDavid. He scores. Right back in the game. It's 3-1 on McDavid's 25th.
This is Sports 1440 and the Kevin Karius Show.
All right, here we go for Saul. 576, Monday, January the 5th, 2026. Feels weird to say that. Hey, good morning. Welcome to the Kevin Karius Show on Sports 1440. On your AM radio dial, on your morning drive into work, wherever you're heading out on a Monday morning. I think a lot of people are getting back to work after taking some time off over the holiday season, and hope you had a great holiday season and a happy new year to everyone. I don't know when's the cutoff on when you can keep saying Happy New Year. I think Larry David said it was the 3rd, January 3rd or something like that. Hey, but you can watch us on YouTube as well on Sports 1440 AM. Drop us a like, a subscription. We would appreciate that. We're also on X, Facebook, Instagram, even the old Twitch. As always, we're streaming on iHeartRadio, the TuneIn app, even on sports1440.ca. And if you miss any part of any show, it turns into the many podcasts that are out there on Apple, Spotify, Google, even Amazon. Subscribe. It's free. Select the auto download. You'll never miss a second of any show. Yeah, good morning. I hope you had a great holiday season. So glad you're with us here on a Monday morning as we welcome in our co-host on Mondays and Fridays, Eddie Steele, all-decade team, 2015 Grey Cup champion. Good morning, Eddie.
KK, good to see you, my man.
That's
How
good,
you feeling?
Good to be seen, big fella.
Ah, yes.
Did you have
Well, it is nice because you're not seen around this building too often.
What are you talking about? I took one day off.
Mr. Vacation.
One day off, a Friday, January 2nd.
It's earned. Yeah, it's earned, Mr. Vacation.
Hey.
While me and Duke are in here grinding.
Oh, you guys are just grinding is great. Whatever.
We ain't swinging sledgehammers, eh?
Talk about grinding. Canada loses to the Czech 6-4 last night in the semifinal of the World Junior Championship. 3rd straight year. Czech eliminates Canada. So it'll be Sweden and the Czechs in the gold medal game tonight. Canada will play for bronze against Finland. I mean, we were talking about this Czech team and how dangerous they are. Even on just after watching Canada beat them on the 26th, Eddie, because it was a close game, went right down the wire. And, last night was a close game too. And I mean, every time Canada came back,
just another blow.
Just again, yeah.
Counter punch.
You look at this Czech team and the makeup of it, they have the potential to win this gold. They haven't won gold for 25 years, right? So, and Sweden hasn't won in 14, 15, whatever it is. So.
Are the Czechs that much better than Canada?
No.
I'm just asking from what I watched, because I watched it too.
Yeah.
And I watched both games, actually, the Czech and Canada games.
Yeah, and I said they're a dangerous team.
Mm-hmm.
Are they better? Well, Canada's has more talent.
More high-end.
More, yeah. I mean, think all the guys that are drafted. Think about all that. Potentially next year, too. Guys like Gavin McKenna, et cetera.
But Czech plays a scrappier,
they just bring
different brand
they
of puck.
bring it and bring it and bring it.
Yeah, wave after wave.
Yeah, and that's the thing. And their defense is big, mobile. moves the puck quite well. So
how about Canada's defense for the tournament? You talked about all the high-end forward talent and skill.
You know, you look at like a guy like Zane Parekh, who had a damn good tournament.
He did.
Could be, you know, I don't think he would win the MVP of the tournament now, because I think you want to go for someone in the gold medal game.
For
It
sure.
Could be someone off Czech, could be someone off Sweden. I don't know, but he was really good. Still good offensively, at times defensively. That's the thing, right, with him. So
What about some of the noise that's out there about the maturity level of Canada and the way they played and handled themselves throughout the tournament? Going back to that first game with the pat on the butt.
Yep. That was Martone, the captain, and he quickly put the fires out there and said it was a bad move by him. I don't think it was that bad.
No, it wasn't, especially in the heat of competition, man.
So, I mean, as I said, the tournament's changed. Like you go back to, 20 some years ago. And like, I think we brought it up with you, Eddie, like even a guy like Jordan Tutu or Downey, these guys, they would hit to hurt.
Enough.
Man, I mean, double Dion. These guys, and and now it's, I mean, if you see a couple big hits in it, you're like, wow.
Yeah.
So
it's a different brand of puck.
Yeah, it sure is. Oilers lost to Philadelphia on Saturday afternoon. The building was dead. I couldn't believe it. But, I guess when you get out to a quick lead like Philly did, maybe that takes the
What
sale.
was it after the first?
Well, it was 3.
It was 3 now?
Yeah.
I didn't have the eyes on it, really. I was down at some families.
Yeah, 3-1, I guess it would have been, I think. But it was 3-0. And then, there was that late goal. It was a pass from Sanheim that was intercepted by Ekholm. And
what's this Oilers team to do, man? Like we can only talk about it so much. Are they ever gonna be able to get some production out of the bottom six? Like I just don't know.
Well, again, and then we just got to text Matt in Leduc. You guys hear that the rumors that Anaheim is sniffing around Mangiapane. So that was Elliot Friedman on Saturday, I believe, in 32 Thoughts, talking about the possibility there. I mean, they brought the kid line. They put the kid line together, and they didn't really do anything.
Didn't do a thing.
So, I mean, right now the Oilers, they still have nothing on that bottom six, and you're still trying to move a guy like Mangiapane. I mean, they thought he was going to be one of the solutions, right?
Mm-hmm.
Not a problem. But it's almost like identical from last year when, the guys that they brought in.
That free agency period. And
it didn't work out. And you look at Frederick and Mangiapane, they haven't worked out yet.
Even going back to a Connor Brown,
Mm-hmm.
and they signed him coming off an injury, but just didn't work out and the injury, I get it, but didn't work out. But then playoffs, he's a different type of player. But Maj, man, it's really tough. Something needs to shake down, and it's unfortunate that the player, he was brought in at a pretty good salary, just wasn't able to make it happen. And Trent Frederick, I mean, reading Specs piece, I didn't even look at the numbers. Trent has 3 points on the season.
Yeah.
3 points, man.
Like,
my goodness.
When you think about the other things that he could contribute and isn't, sometimes I think you could go, okay, we could live with you fighting at the puck and not contributing offensively.
Exactly.
But if you don't do anything else, now that's when the problem arises.
Exactly. And go back and fall back on some of the things that have gotten you to the league. You're not a small flower out there. Use your body, use your skating ability, put the body through somebody. It reminds me so much of football, like when the pass rush, because you get in funks and you lose confidence in every sport. And it happened to me plenty of times when I'd be getting blocked and locked up one-on-one, not defeating the offensive guard in front of me. When normally you have a one-on-one, you should be licking your chops. But you can always fall back on, at least I can get physical in the run game. I can still be in the game, even though my pass rush isn't there and I'm not feeling it. With him, he's not getting in the game at all with the other attributes that brought him to the league.
So, okay, for you, when you were playing, some games you just don't have it, right? You don't have it. You know that.
You feel it.
But you got to somehow, shake the cobwebs out and do something, or else what's the point of even being out there?
That's just it. And you hear this so much, especially in football. In quarterbacks, they'll say they want to get hit. They want to get in the game. They want to feel that first hit.
Right.
It's a real thing. You played puck. You know how it is, KK. It gets you in the game. So to not be willing to go and get yourself in the game because you're in control of that. That's not something that you just got to go get blasted through the boards. You're in control of the contact and physicality too. To not do that, it's very concerning.
I always, and I mean, Struddy always used to say, okay, first shift, I got to do something. Because if I don't do something, the coach he's not going to notice me. And, you know, a guy like the way he played, Struddy, he would, you know, if you're not going banging right off the hop and getting involved, well, what's the point? What's the sense?
Exactly.
So if you don't show your coach that you are ready to go, he's going to staple you to the bench.
That's just it. And when you see other guys who do ramp it up and get into the game quickly, it's hard for me to understand how you're not going to try and match that tone of energy by your teammates. You know, how can you just be so docile out there game after game?
7:10 in Edmonton. Hey, let's welcome in the Duke of Delburne on a Monday morning. Good morning, Duke. Solid weekend for yourself?
Oh, it was a solid weekend, Kev. Very busy, very action-packed, essentially start to finish. Glad to be back. Lots to get to. Last night was having the two games that were on at the same time, the World Junior semifinal and the Sunday Night Football game, Steelers and Ravens. That was enough for a singular attention, let alone trying to keep tabs on both at the same time. It was a wild finish to the weekend.
You double screened it, Duke?
Oh, definitely double screening it, Eddie. You know what?
I double screened it too.
You
baby.
know what I'm about. You know what I'm about.
Man. Okay, so what was on the big screen?
The hockey game was on the big screen.
Ooh, we were opposites.
Yeah.
The hockey's on the laptop for me. That's a big NFL game now.
Well, it was, yeah. So, I mean, the Steelers end up winning it on a late field goal, and Baltimore had the chance to win it, and the kicker misses
with
the field
plays
goal.
being made, though, to set them up and all the bombs. Lamar, Aaron. What was Aaron's final numbers, too? He had a really good game. Know who really stood out, though, fellas? And I know you both are probably watching the puck a little more, so may not have noticed, but they highlighted him a ton. And I have to give him love, not only for the number 97, but the position. Cam Hayward. He had himself a whale of a football game for a defensive tackle.
Yeah.
I mean, they talked about him all broadcast, and you don't do that about nose tackles unless you're Aaron Donald. But he impacted the game. Like, he really had an impact, KK, with the tackles, the batted passes. It was pretty cool to see.
Yeah, Myles Garrett gets the sack record.
What did you think of that? What did you think of that?
It reminded me of
Favre with the guy who came after. Remember, it just happened last year, Gastineau.
Yeah, Mark Gastineau.
You hunted him down at some autograph signing.
Yeah, that was in the documentary.
Yeah,
right?
in the documentary.
And when you look at that, Favre thought he was kidding, but he wasn't.
He was dead serious.
He was dead serious.
Gastineau, I think he was a little loose, man.
Yeah, well, he's not altogether.
He's not, not doing well. But yeah, Miles is very similar. Joey Burrow, he just went down. He said, "Here, take it, have it." Good for him, though.
Is there a matchup for NFL first round here that's striking your fancy a little more than the others, or?
Yeah, I'm just pulling them up here.
You got the Patriots and Chargers, Jags, Bills, Steelers, Texans in the AFC. Then in the NFC, it's the Bears and Packers, Eagles, Niners, and the Panthers, Rams. I think the Eagles-Niners game probably could be the best one.
I think that the Jags will go into Buffalo and do damage.
I think they host. Jags host it, I think, right? Yeah.
Oh, it is Jags. Oh, I'm reading it backwards here. I'm reading it backwards.
So I don't know if like the Bills to me are that's going to be a tough one for them to pull out a win there. I like Jacksonville a lot.
And you know who people are talking about a ton that I don't want to give love to?
Who's that?
This guy over
Duke
here.
with the Texans?
The Texans. They're talking about his defense like they are a force to be reckoned with in the playoffs.
They could get to the Super Bowl, man.
Ooh,
Yeah.
really?
I think, well, they got a good team, man.
Okay, so we have a believer. I'm not a believer yet.
No?
The offense, I need to see it. But
So
I'm a believer in the pass rush.
they
Wreck carnage.
I would think if they beat Pittsburgh, they would, because I don't see the Chargers going into New England and winning that game.
I don't
So
see
it would be the Texans and likely the Broncos, right? That's assuming that Buffalo doesn't upset Jacksonville.
Yeah,
So,
lowest seed.
Yeah.
Lowest seed will face the number one.
So Seattle gets the bye in the NFC. Again, Bears and Packers, Eagles and Niners. And I mean, that's going to be tough for San Fran to go into Philly.
It will be.
We're going to have a good week here with MTR and Rowdy Roddy, and then
Triple C
in a truck.
So
They're gonna be
it's
going
all
bad.
the dust has settled. This bet with MTR, it was a tough one you took, huh?
Well, I got to figure out what the bet was. I can't even remember anymore. Hey,
What bet? There was
I
no
don't even
bet.
know.
You know, there was no bet. You forget.
I don't remember it. Coming up on the big program, our usual Monday morning leadoff man. Should mention too, Kevin Stefanski just relieved of his duties in Cleveland.
Surprised? Okay, sorry.
Yeah, I think so. Yes.
Different question.
Okay.
Will he be coaching as a head coach next year? Because he's a 2-time coach of the year in the past 4 years, 5 years.
I would imagine he gets hired
Immediately.
You know,
Agreed.
like there's going to be. I mean, Atlanta changed, right? Made a change.
There will be some more firings. It's Black Monday or Blue Monday, whatever they call
you
it.
want to call it. Yeah. So, coming up, Alan Mitchell will be with us. You hear him daily here from 12 to 2, the Lowdown with Lowtide. We got Mark Spector from Rogers Sportsnet at 8 o'clock. Mark Masters from TSN, a good get by the Duke, covers the World Junior Championship very well. He will check in at 8:20 to discuss, for the third straight year, the Czechs beat Canada and eliminate them in the playoffs at the World Juniors. So we got Thomas Hall from Blue Jays Nation, the Jays with a signing. Pretty big one, too. And now you wonder what's going to happen with Bo Bichette. See what happens there. Scott Burnside from Burnside on Hockey at 10 o'clock, as well as Brian Diardo from CBS Sports, covers the NFL. He's coming up at 10:20. When we come back, Alan Mitchell will be with us. It's the Kevin Carey Show with the Duke of Delburne, Eddie Steele, and Josh Fenwick on Sports 1440 AM radio. We're also streaming on YouTube, X, Facebook, Instagram, and Twitch.
I skipped breakfast this morning. Stay out of my way.
Don't threaten me with your bad choices.
No worries. A booster bar from Booster Juice will fix me.
I don't even know what that is.
Yeah, because they're new. Snack-sized bars packed with seeds, pecans, gluten-free oats, all sorts of good stuff.
That sounds lovely, actually.
2 different flavors to try, too. Coconut pecan booster bars and harvest booster bars. Want to skip breakfast with me?
I take it back. You make good choices.
Booster Juice, Canadian-born, blending since 1999.
New Year's resolutions. We all make them. We all say we're going to start eating healthier or going to the gym or starting that new hobby. But at GS Construction, we actually follow through on our New Year's resolution because it's the same every year. We promise to set the groundwork, literally, for another year of progress and growth. And we've stuck by that resolution since 1974. So start that all-you-can-eat diet. GS Construction is going to start planning right now for the year ahead. For more on what we do, visit gsconstruction.ca.
Whether you're a craft beer connoisseur or more of a wine aficionado, there's always something new to discover at Sherbrooke Liquor, a unique, family-owned, independent liquor store. The selection, incredible. The non-alcohol section is also very impressive. Sherbrooke Liquor, expert, knowledgeable staff with a passion for unique finds. More than just a liquor store, we're a community. Alberta's best, the one and only Sherbrooke Liquor. Wine, spirits, and oodles of beer. Visit SherbrookeLiquor.com.
60 years ago, we started selling trucks as Western GMC Buick. Today, we are Wolf GMC Buick. We're still located on the corner of 184th Street and Stony Plain Road with the same ownership for over 2 decades. Our customers have trusted our family-owned, community-driven business. And for that, we are thankful. If you're looking for a truck or SUV, pop in and one of our seasoned professionals will get you a great deal, hassle-free. Come trust our team at Wolf GMC Buick. Wolf GMC Buick. We're making it easy.
I'm Grant Fedork from Leading Edge Physiotherapy, and people who suffer brain fog might think it's just going to be part of their life. But listen, I've seen a 38-year-old man managing a concussion read her kid a bedtime story without losing the plot, all because of cognitive rehab that rewires the brain like a GPS reboot. Your brain isn't broken, it's buffering. One missed beat in focus, memory, or balance snowballs into frustration, falls, or forgotten keys. Stroke, concussion, long COVID, even aging can all lead to brain fog. Cognitive rehab works. Check us out at leadingedgephysio.com before your next Where'd I Put My Phone moment.
The Junior Prospects Hockey League's 4th season is now underway. The JPHL offers elite athletic and academic opportunities for players in the 14U, 15U, 17U, and 18U divisions. All games are broadcast live on Silent Ice TV, featuring a showcase-style schedule and competitive matchups across Western Canada. Players work with experienced coaches, trainers, and elite hockey personnel. Learn more about Western Canada's fastest-growing elite hockey development stream at juniorprospectshockeyleague.com.
This is Andrew Walker, host of the postgame show on Sports 1440. After every hockey game this season, tune in and chime in as we talk about the game. It's all sponsored by Legacy Heating and Cooling. Don't get left in the cold. Visit legacyheating.ca.
Diablo Boots sells only Canadian-made work and biker boots made by Canada West. No American or boots made in China, so no tariffs. All of Diablo's boots have replaceable soles and heels for longer life. Sizes 6 to 14 triple E. Buy quality, buy Canadian. And support Canada West and Diablo, the two best names in the boot business. So save on boots by Save On Foods. That's Diablo Boots, 3340 Gateway Boulevard on the east side of Save On Foods. Buy Canadian. They're terrific.
Portions of this hour brought to you by Nectar.io. Learn more about how we can help your business automate processes, streamline operations, and save money at Nectar.io. Nectar.io, your business made better.
Have your sports curiosity cured with the Kevin Karius Show. This is Sports 1440.
All right, welcome back to the big program, 7:21 in Edmonton time now for the game of the day, brought to you by St. Albert Dodge. And the all-new 2026 Jeep Gladiator Sport packages have arrived. We've got a great selection and many colors to pick from. $49,900 gets you behind the wheel. Brand new Jeep Gladiators below $50K. Unbelievable. StAlbertDodge.com. Check them out as we welcome in Alan Mitchell. You hear him daily from 12 to 2, the Lowdown with Low Tide. Good morning, Tide. How's the weekend? And you got to be pretty happy about your Philadelphia Eagles. But boy, San Fran's got a hell of a team. It's going to be a good game this weekend.
Yeah, I don't like the matchup. I think based on how well the Eagles played, they should have to play, I don't know, something, so, you know, like a team that didn't actually finish 500 and made the playoffs. But it doesn't work like that. And I don't know if it's a pick'em game or whatever. San Francisco has so many injuries, you never know the team you're going to see on the field. But I'll cheer for the Eagles. I've been accused many times of being like the worst fan ever of the Eagles. But you have to understand, I started in 72 or so. And there were a lot of lean years before they finally won a Super Bowl. So I think I'm a realistic Eagles fan.
Oh, realistic. That's one way to look at it, Tide. But I mean, they got a good team. The Eagles, you got, you were world champs for a reason here, right? And I mean, but San Fran's got a hell of a team too. So I think that's my favorite game of the week. I think, Eddie, too.
Yeah, I agree. The 49ers are. They're a fun team. They just are. They got a lot of guys that are really interesting football players.
Yeah.
Should be a physical game, too, between those two NFC teams. The one thing about the 49ers, I have a lot of respect for Philly. I'm not a big fan of them, but boy, what Howie Roseman can do in terms of getting a roster put together and finding the right pieces, especially, Tide, I know you give a lot of love in the trenches. Howie Roseman sure knows how to put together a line of scrimmage on both sides of the ball, but San Fran has Kyle Shanahan, and I'm a big believer in his offensive mind and the way he can scheme up plays. It's pretty cool to watch.
Yeah, it is. It is. I wanted to ask you a question. Like when you're watching a physical football game, do you like does the adrenaline? Do you just get up and like hammer the fridge and just run right into it?
Put my head through the TV. With all honesty, Tide, I love it. It gets the juices flowing, especially in the playoffs, right? With hockey too, when they're hitting each other and skating or running faster. But the first thought that goes through my mind is, my goodness, I can't believe I did this for almost a decade, because the collisions are so impactful and fast. I can't believe I used to do that to my body. I sit back and watch, because when you're in it, when you're playing, it's not, as fierce as you may think. But when you're watching it as a fan, my golly, it's intense out there.
Yeah, somebody said years and years ago that playing a football game is like getting into a car crash.
Yeah.
On Monday, you really feel it, like you really, and to do it for a decade, my God, man. You know, I hope that Karius helps you to your seat in the morning.
Well, it's funny you say that because I park underneath when it's winter, and man, I was barely making it up the stairs. My knees all buckered up when it gets cold. It's a real thing.
Who's your favorite Eagle of all time? Is it Concrete Charlie? Chuck Bednarik?
It's Harold Carmichael.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. I watched him. The first player I ever saw hurdle another football player was Harold Carmichael, and I was just spellbound. It's like watching Secretariat. You know, you're just like, oh my God, and so that was my favorite football player.
Last night, the Canadian junior team loses to Czech, tied 6-4. They just have Canada's number. The last 3 years, they've knocked them out. The Czechs play hard, and they got a really balanced team, and they deserved to win last night. But this is tough for the Canadian kids. You know, you look at them after the game, and they're tearing up. Man, it's tough. You know, when you want something so badly, and you can almost taste it, it's a tough pill to swallow.
Yeah, I think they had a couple of issues, and everybody's going to get mad at them. I hate it that Canada gets mad at teenagers at Christmas, but it happens. But I think they were not exceptionally well coached structurally. There were a lot of gaps and a lot of defensive miscues. I think that Canada is we're perceived as being a passive country, but we have great passion for anything that happens on ice, including drinks. But the point was last night that I thought that the Canadian team, sometimes they used all of that energy in a good way. I think it just boiled over a little bit and cost them. And I'm not being like, they're teenagers. You know, we have to remember that. But I think that the structural play wasn't there. Oodles of great, offensive ability. But I think that the better team won, and that's, that might be scandalous to say on a Canadian radio station today. But I don't think Canadians were the better team. They had I think they need a week's worth of practice, and their coverage was not strong, not at all, and it cost them.
And nothing wrong with saying the truth, Todd, because that's the reality. The better team did win. And I'm going to double down on what you said about the energy and them expending energy. It takes a lot of energy continuously fighting uphill too. And every time Canada was able to tie the game, the Czechs had an answer. And that, just to tie it is brings you such an emotional high. And then the low that follows so quickly after with a goal by the Czechs, and to do that all game, that's tough to do.
Yeah, and they were the Canadian goals were like Canadian goals, right? And the Czechs are like they're. I'll be very interested in seeing them against Sweden, honestly, because I think I think this is a really good version of their team, but they're like in international hockey, when you watch it enough, you notice trends like the Finns defensively. They're a little bit passive, but they make you stay on the outside. Like their defense is all built on skating you to the end boards, 17 feet away from the net. You're never going to get to the net. And the Czechs are just really sound. They're always in a good spot, and they use their wheels really well. And they're kind of suffocating. I like their style. I like their team too. The Canadian game, usually the bronze medal game for Canada is a dull one. I don't know that it will be, but I hope those kids, find I know bronze doesn't seem like a big deal today, but 20 years from now, that will mean something.
Alan Mitchell with us on Sports 1440. Oilers lose to Philadelphia on Saturday. That's a couple of games where, you look at the teams coming in here, and Boston and Philly, and, these are games that down the road, you're going to go, man, we needed to have a little bit of a better performance here. What did you make of the Saturday game, that 5-2 loss tide?
I'm a little befuddled, flummoxed, wondering about Chris Knobloch's deployment. He gets a kid line together, and then he doesn't play them. So you're down to three lines, and then his third line, is struggling. There's no doubt. So that line gets kind of, put on a shelf. The Draisaitl line struggled a little bit. McDavid line was fine, but Chris Knobloch has taken this team to 2 Stanley Cup Finals. The difference between this team, when McDavid and Draisaitl are on the ice and when they're off the ice, is the difference between a championship caliber team and expansion team. And that's Chris Knobloch's job. So when he puts out a fourth line of kids and then doesn't play them, then I wonder if, because he's a smart guy, I just wonder if he's sort of at a point in the year where he's like, man, none of these guys are going to give me what I want. And that means a trade. And so if this continues where the third line is not good and the fourth line they just don't use, they scrap it for parts, then I think we're going to see a trade pretty soon. But it's disappointing because last year Skinner couldn't play, Arvidsson couldn't play. This year Mangiapane can't play and Frederick can't play. And I'm just wondering, I wrote about it in The Athletic today, I'm just wondering if the Oilers are really using free agency well, because I mean, I think that Quinn Hudson has a better future than some of the guys they signed to no movement clauses. And that guy was basically a college guy for free. All it cost was a little bit of cash. You might as well go shopping there instead of at the front end of free agency on July 1st.
With the hesitancy to play the lower lines, and I know some guys, like you just noted, in Mangiapane and Frederick, they're just not producing at all. But is it as simple to say as Chris Knobloch just doesn't trust them? Is that why he's not playing them?
Well, I think, like we're mid-season now, so we can make some calls on some players. I love Trent Frederick's game when he was in Boston. I thought he played really well. He was very aggressive, scored 15 goals a year. He's not that player right now. The high ankle sprain has him. If you look at NHL Edge, his foot speed is off from a year ago. People keep telling me it's not speed. Well, tell NHL Edge, because they're tracking it and the numbers don't, add up to there's nothing wrong. There's something there. And with Mangiapane, he's not a guy who can do a dump and chase game. And this team continues to do the long stretch pass, tip it in, and then not gain possession. So they're getting like short-term relief, but not even enough for a line change. So I think some things have to change, but I also think that, in fairness to the coach, he has given, Frederick and Mangiapane lots of playing time, and they just haven't done much with it. Now, you need a third line center, and they have one in Nuge, but they prefer him at left wing on the first line. That's where I'd start. I think Chris Knobloch has to, move off of Nuge on the top line, as difficult as it is, because that third line, you have to use a third line. The fourth line, you can scrap. You shouldn't, but you can do it. But the third line has to do something. And Adam Henrique just isn't there. It's not, he's been a very fine player for a long time, but age is undefeated. And that's what's happening.
As you talk about it, I agree. But then my fear would be you move Nuge off the only producing line. Leon is dry as could be right now. And then say what happens, that top line doesn't produce at the rate it normally does with Connor. Then you're really hooped. But then the flip side would be the bonus. You get some third line production finally.
Yeah, but you have to trust people. Like Roslovic is playing well. Put him on one of the top two lines. And, you've invested heavily. Your management team has invested heavily in Matt Savoy and Ike Howard. Play one of them. Put Roslovic on the McDavid line and then put Savoy with Draisaitl and Podkolzin and run it for like 3 weeks, because you're running out of time. The deadline's coming up, and this team, for some reason, is just not able to find anything that works until late in the year. And one of these years, it's just not going to work out, and it's unfortunate. But this, for me, is a time where I think Chris Knobloch has to look at Ike Howard and Matt Savoy. They have draft pedigree. They've had success as scorers. Ike Howard was ripping up in the AHL, and then he puts him on a fourth line and doesn't play him. I think that it's fair to criticize the coach for that this morning.
What about Kasperi Kapanen coming back? That might balance a little bit more in the bottom six if he plays with Leon and Podkolzin. What do you think of that?
I like it. Kapanen has, I think, been more consistent as an Oiler. He had a brilliant playoff. Greg has been talking about this, talked to the player himself about, trying to be more consistent. It seems as though he's there. I think that Kapanen and Roslovic could be key players here down the stretch. And I like Kapanen's size and speed, and the Oilers need that. And so I think putting him into the top six, I have no quarrel with. He's been a very good player for Edmonton.
Elliot Friedman reporting on the weekend too, tight about Andrew Mangiapane. Maybe Anaheim sniffing around a possibility there.
Yeah, and I mean that's mostly for cap purposes. I think there's not going to be much coming back in the way of assets that are usable, but it'll allow them to get Christian Jarry and Jake Wallman and Kapanen back on the roster, and that's I assume that's what they're looking to do. When you get to the deadline, you're going to have to probably make another move, but this gets them compliant so they can use all of the players they have on the roster right now.
Where are you at with Jake Wallman? What's your concern level here? I mean, he hasn't played barely at all this year.
I love him, but he doesn't play, and was the worry going in. And now he's signed to a long-term contract, so you have him here. But I like the idea of what they're doing, which is making sure that he's okay. They got to be ready for the playoffs. He and Jarry both have to be ready for the playoffs. So if they give Jarry an extra week or they give Wallman an extra week, I know that Wallman's been day to day for week to weeks, but I'd rather have that than I remember the old days of Mike Greer throwing out his shoulder on one shift on a hit and then getting it put back in on the bench. I don't want to go back to those days. Make sure these guys are healthy for the playoffs.
Oh, shoulders injuries, man. You got to be cautious with talking about that around here. The old cleft bomb.
Oh man. Up until about a year ago, and it's really sad actually, I would get comments on my blog saying, "Hey, are you hearing anything about Clefbaum?" People, they never got over Clefbaum's injury. Like it really was. He was such a great young player, and you thought you'd have him forever, and just in a wink of an eye, he was gone.
It's interesting. I mean, management hasn't made the best decisions over the years. They've hit on some gems for sure, but that Clefbaum injury really did kind of set the decor back quite some time.
Yeah, it did. And then, put everybody in a tough spot. And then the Nurse signing happened not long after when the Seth Jones thing happened. And so you end up with Nurse, who's like your key to your defense. He's your rock, but you had two of them, right? And so the timing was very, very poor from an Oilers point of view of getting the Nurse contract done and, moving forward with Clefbaum. They had that. And then, on top of that, Adam Larson leaves the free agency. I mean, it's just like the Oilers have been, it's a fascinating team because as good as they are, it's like the entire NHL gangs up on them. It makes, even the NHL makes them give a third-round pick for Milan Lucic in a trade that, if you look at it, the trade would not have been a third-round pick. The Oilers had to give up more than they should have because Gary Bettman has a Texas Instruments calculator and decided to, insert himself into a conversation.
What's coming up on the lowdown today, Tide?
We have Jason Gregor. Rachel will join us later in the week. We have Jason Gregor coming up, and we'll obviously spend a lot of time on football. I think we're going to talk Pittsburgh Steelers quite a bit today, and Carolina Panthers and the Jaguars. I don't know if you've seen the playoff matchups, guys, but it's like I'm looking at the helmets and going, geez, I haven't seen these guys in the playoffs for a while.
It's refreshing.
Yeah.
Yeah. How about the Chiefs and how close they were? Did you see the standings in their division and who is not that far away from them? What a weird year for the Chiefs.
It was a weird year for the Chiefs, and the Chiefs, they're not done yet either. I don't think as a franchise, they're not, the window is not completely closed.
No.
Not as long as you have Patty Mahomes coming off a torn ACL even. He's a good quarterback.
Well, until Mahomes leaves, they have a shot. I mean, he's just that good, right?
Exactly.
Yeah.
Good stuff, Tide. Have a great show today. We'll talk soon.
All right, boys. Be good.
That's Ellen Mitchell, the Lowdown with Low Tide, daily, 12 to 2 right here on Sports 1440. And that's the game of the day brought to you by St. Albert Dodge. And again, the Jeep Gladiator Sport packages have arrived. Under 50,000, $49,900 gets you behind the wheel. Check them out at staldodge.com. When we come back, I think we'll bust down a few of these NFL matchups. Nathan texts in too, our text line 833-401-1440. Hey boys, when I was in university, I remember reading about a study that said playing professional football was like going to the end of your driveway, running at full speed and slamming yourself into the garage door 60 times.
Don't need to tell me this. I've heard it all.
Now,
I'd like to start my new year on a positive note, not some depression.
Would you have done this 60 times, Eddie?
No.
Run yourself into the garage door?
No, but it's funny if you look back at like the stuff that I would do for workouts, like pass rushing on trees and stuff in my backyard, man. I look probably so corny, like Rocky, chopping up a tree.
Rocky. Come on, man.
Yeah, man. What do you mean? Get into the elements, grind. What do you know about grinding?
What are you're going to say that you were like Rocky in
training out in Russia?
Yeah, that was 4
shirts off in the snow, man.
Not a chance.
Come on,
not a chance. Yeah, you would have fallen off that mountain, Eddie, in about 2 seconds. When we come back, we'll get to more of your text 833-401-1440. It's a Kevin Karius show with the Duke of Delburne, Eddie Steele, and Josh Fenwick on Sports 1440 AM radio. We're also streaming on YouTube, X, Facebook, Instagram, and Twitch.
Hi, Mike here from Northgate Chevrolet Buick GMC. It's not lost on me that this radio ad competes with a lot of other dealerships on the air. So what sets us apart? Honesty. At Northgate, we believe in giving you the very best price we can with the most value possible. We aren't giving away free trips or paying off your credit cards, but it is my promise you will get exactly what you paid for every time. Stop in and see us today, 13215 97th Street, or visit us online at northgategm.com.
Across the province, Albertans are taking their shot on Play Alberta. With casino winners every hour, jackpots worth millions, and revenue that stays in the province, there's never been a better time to sign up. Right now, our listeners can score a $50 free bet when they make a minimum $50 deposit with code Gregor50. That's code Gregor50 for a $50 free bet. Start playing with your game sense today to find out if you're Alberta's next winner. Weekly NFL giveaways, drink specials, huge screen TVs. The hits keep coming at First Round, Edmonton's NFL headquarters. Watch NFL football at First Round, and you could win a trip to your favorite NFL city for a regular season game next season. Catch NFL action Thursday nights, all day Sunday, starting with the Pro Bowl brunch from 10:30 to 2. Then Monday night with half-price boneless wings after 6 p.m. First Round, burgers, beer, sports. Downtown and Bourbon Street, West Edmonton Mall.
You matter. Your mental health matters, and you're braver than you think. Not Alone is an organization focused on creating a space of acceptance and support through tough, meaningful conversation. My name is Tyler Smith, and you are never alone. NotAloneCo.com. It's okay to not be okay.
At Fountain Tire, success is a team effort. They're committed to their team members and their customers. And that means treating your vehicle like it's their own and finding solutions that suit your needs. Because whatever the road brings ahead, they're on it with you. Visit FountainTire.com today.
This is Andrew Walker, host of the postgame show on Sports 1440. After every hockey game this season, tune in and chime in as we talk about the game. It's all sponsored by Legacy Heating and Cooling. Don't get left in the cold. Visit legacyheating.ca.
From the local rinks to homes and businesses across the province, Alberta's rural natural gas utilities are here to fuel life affordably, reliably, and safely. We're members of the Federation of Alberta Gas Co-ops, providing natural gas to keep our rural neighborhoods warm and connected every day. It's local, dependable, and it's ours. To learn more about the Federation of Alberta Gas Co-ops and our members, and how natural gas fuels your community, visit fedgas.com. Alberta's energy. Game on.
Just in time for the morning skate. This is the Kevin Karius Show on Sports 1440.
All right, welcome back to the big program, 7:43 in Edmonton. Kevin Karius, Eddie Steele with you, Duke of Delburne, Josh Fenwick. Text line 833-401-1440. IMAX says, as a husband of a Czech with two 10-year-old hockey-playing boys. It kind of sucked in my house last night. Cheering for the Czechs, the mom effect. He says he's going to bag skate his own boys at the next practice, too. Czechs were flat out better, absolutely on the back end. Must be said, though, that they goalied us, too. Tonight, he says he wears my backup Czech jersey. LOL.
That's pretty funny. I can get behind that bag skate.
Yeah,
That's all I pulled out of is how hard he is on his kids.
Tim texts in, morning boys, devastated as a Ravens fan. Tell me, is there any worse combination being an Oilers fan, Ravens fan, Blue Jays fan? Utter heartbreak last few years. Yeah, it's a tough combination there.
It is.
So you think there's a possibility Harbaugh and or one or the other?
I do.
As far as Lamar Jackson?
I don't want it.
Yeah.
I really like both the player and the head coach. And there's a reason Harbaugh's been there for 18 years.
Mm-hmm.
And Lamar is a multiple MVP winner, and he's under 30. But the contract, Lamar's salary cap hit next year. Obviously, there was a report out in the Baltimore Sun about some friction between their relationship and Lamar's work ethic and whatnot. Again, all you have to look back to, KK, is the two-time MVP winner.
Yeah.
Doing stuff that we've never seen a quarterback do. And even in the game yesterday, it was a pretty bad first half, but he made the big plays when the big plays needed to be made. And quite honestly, Baltimore should have won that game. You know, that kick shouldn't have been missed.
Yeah.
But you can also say Boswell shouldn't have missed the extra point if we're going to play that game.
Then it would have been tied, right?
Exactly.
Yeah. Tied and, whatever you're.
Yeah, so that should have, would have, could have. It means nothing. Yeah. It means nothing. But Lamar got them in position, right? John Harbaugh, there was a lot of talk. If he was going to win the game, probably safe. Lose the game, well, we'll see what happens. And they lost the game. And then on the flip side, it's the same thing for Mike Tomlin in Pittsburgh, right? Like, it's everybody who needed to show up and have a big game, they did. Aaron Rodgers, Lamar Jackson, both coaches did a phenomenal job. Everybody did what they needed to do.
Yeah. So it's going to be the Steelers and Texans. Pittsburgh hosts that game. It's the 4 and 5 seeds. We were talking about Houston. I mean, their defense is as good as anyone's. Still not sold on the quarterback.
That's just it.
But
need to see it from CJ.
I mean, you talk about, the coach is good.
Yes.
Their defense is good. They're, and maybe the running game. That's probably still a question mark, I think, with Woody Marks probably.
Probably, but something that they can lean on with a little bit of confidence, right?
Would you have Pittsburgh winning that game or the Texans? I think
I think I'd have the Texans. Yeah. Now Aaron Rodgers is going to have DK Metcalf back, so that helps getting the weapon back. Yeah. Pittsburgh, they play inspired. They do. You have Cam Hayward and TJ Watt and Jalen Ramsey, who's a vet, didn't make some big plays yesterday. He got some plays made on him, but
even that last play that likely hauled that pass in, like Ramsey overplayed it.
He was over top and he didn't. He kind of swatted at it and missed it. Mistimed his jump. I think I would look to Houston because I don't trust Pittsburgh's offense. I just don't trust him. Aaron Rodgers threw for almost 300 yesterday, but look at what he's done all season. Check down, King. Everything's short and quick.
Check.
Exactly.
Patriots and Chargers. So New England, obviously the number 2 seed. Chargers come in at number 7. New England, obviously they play well at home. It's going to be probably a little nippy for the Chargers to head out to Foxborough. So
I don't think they have a sniff.
No,
I don't. Jim Harbaugh, again, the Harbaugh brothers, he likes to play a physical brand of football. But what Mike Vrabel has concocted over in New England with the Patriots, the way they play at home, their offense is lights out, their defense is stubborn. I don't think that the Chargers are going to have a sniff going to New England. I think I could see that one being a pretty big blowout. Drake May, too. Could he win the MVP, KK?
Sure he could. Yeah, he could. I don't know if he will. I think it's going to be a closer vote than people think, though.
Agreed.
Yeah.
Him and Stafford?
Yeah.
Is that what we're looking at?
And it's funny because we were talking halfway through the season. There were so many other guys that were in the mix. Like Baker Mayfield was being talked about.
Right.
Jonathan Taylor.
Absolutely.
Now you still have
Josh Allen, who was even in the mix.
Yeah. Puka Nacua. But it's always quarterback.
It's going to be a quarterback. Yeah. And then they'll give the offensive player of the year to whatever other skill position, running back, receiver.
Yeah. Tim says Harbaugh is gone. Love him as a coach, but time for a change. Husks says, hey, KK, Broncos look good going into the playoffs. Maybe a Broncos-Seahawks Super Bowl again. Ooh. Jane Victoria takes in great segment with low tide. Starting to wonder about the coaching as well. That's what Jay is saying in Victoria. Top line, yes, if it breaks up, maybe doesn't score as much, but imagine if we had some other lines that could play as well. Man, oh man. Oh, how about Blair coming right at me? Shot across the ball. Do my ears deceive me? Is that actually KK on the Kevin Karius show?
It is.
One day off, Eddie.
It's
one
odd.
Day, one day off.
Oddity, isn't it?
Hey, one day off.
We love to grill you about it, though. We have to.
I'm going to go to Cabo at the end of the month.
I know. The first thing I said to you is, when's the next one? You walk out of the room. Duke's like, well, he's actually leaving in a couple of weeks. Okay.
The Hawks is LMAO. Look at the Patriots schedule. Frauds. Ooh, frauds.
I wouldn't call them frauds. You only can play who's in front of you. You know, I get that the schedule can be soft for some guys, but what they have proven this year is it's not fraudulent. They're a good team.
Oilers, again, Kasperi Kapanen looking like he's going to be ready to go for Nashville tomorrow. And then the Oilers go to Winnipeg on Thursday, I believe. But, I mean, this maybe can balance out, and that's something we discussed with low tide a little bit. With Roslovic, maybe, you know, and I like Roslovic with Leon. I do. But there's more balance if he's somewhere on that third line and has that ability. Again, Adam Henrique at 3C, though, still is not the answer.
Is Nuge your 3C? Do you want him there? Do you have that fear that I brought up with?
Well,
with
when
Ty?
you're breaking up that line, that's a concern, right?
Because that's the only producing line right now.
That's right. So that's the concern. Some people don't believe that Nuge can drive his own line either.
And
I don't see it that way as much, especially at the third line. Like, you know, because you're getting softer matchups.
Yeah.
You should be able to, Nugent Hopkins should be able to have that 3C.
What does history tell us? Does history tell us that he can?
Depends on who's with him.
Good point.
You know, it depends on who's with them. And maybe, you know, maybe him and Roslovic down there. But then now you got to fill out that hole. Who's the guy that's going to play left wing with Connor and Zach? They don't have that guy.
Savoy.
You know? Wow, it could be. Maybe you give Howard another run up there.
Yeah, could be Ike.
I mean, Howard, out of the three guys like Howard, Savoy, and Hudson on Saturday, Howard was probably the best out of the three.
What about Hudson? That's a name that I sometimes forget about.
Yeah, I mean,
because he has the offensive pedigree. He's a goal scorer.
Well, he's scoring in the AHL, same as like Howard. But, you know,
you would think that it doesn't always translate, but you would think with the trust that we talk about that these players don't get from their head coach, you would think that scoring would somewhat evolve into the NHL. If you're scoring at the AHL, typically it translates to the NHL, does it not?
Yeah. Doug Jones, who do you think is coming out for Kapanen? I think Knob said he's going to take one of the young guys out and not one of the fourth line plugs. Probably Hudson, I think.
Yeah. So devil's advocate, though, on the flip side, you take Nuge, put him 3C. Sure, there's the fear of lack of production from that top line now, but maybe you do gain a little bit of production down there, right?
Well,
maybe.
I mean, if you have like the lines from yesterday's practice would be, I think Mangiapane was even on the fourth line. So maybe, I mean, but he's been in and out. Frederick's not even in the top 12 right now.
Yeah, Fredericks, that's a tough one for me, man.
You know, if you have Savoy, Lazar, and Mangiapane is what they kind of had at the skate yesterday. I mean, and when Lazar's been in, he's been okay. He's been okay. But again, there's nothing.
Yeah.
Nothing from this bottom six.
Nothing at all.
You know, so.
And again, it makes matters worse and magnifies everything when a Leon Draisaitl goes cold too.
Yeah. B-Rad says Drake May for MVP.
All right, B-Rad. I want to go back to that one texter that said the Pats are fraudulent because of their schedule.
Yeah.
The other point that I would say is not only did they beat who they played, but Mike Vrabel and what he has done. This is his first year there. The Pats were bottom feeders the past 2 years. And then you get this head coach who had a ton of success in Tennessee. He's not coming out of nowhere. He took Tennessee to some AFC title games.
Yeah.
So to have the combination of him plus the record that they have, that's no fluke. That's no fluke, and it's led by Mike Vrabel.
833-401-1440 coming up at the top of the hour. We got Mark Spector from Rogers Sportsnet. Also lucky to get Mark Masters from TSN. We'll bust down the World Junior semifinal games from yesterday. I mean, the Sweden-Finland game was phenomenal. And to see, to go to the shootout after overtime, that was just a great game. I mean, look at the Canada game, the 2 penalty shots, right? You had the one penalty shot, the trip. I mean, there was excitement in both those games.
It really was.
So we'll check in with Mark Masters. Also, Thomas Hall from Blue Jays Nation, Scott Burnside from Burnside on Hockey, and Brian Diardo from CBS Sports covers the NFL in the 10 o'clock hour. Before all of that, time now for a Sports 1440 update brought to you by Riverside Honda, 59 years and counting. A St. Albert and surrounding areas premier Honda and Can-Am dealer. It's your dream. Ride it at riversidehonda.com. Here is the Duke.
This is a Sports 1440 update.
Yesterday at the World Junior Championships, Team Canada losing to Czechia for a third consecutive year, 6-4 the final from Minnesota. Canada failing to advance to the gold medal game for a third straight season. Zane Parekh, Tijik Inlet, and Sam O'Reilly named Canada's top players for the tournament. They'll play for bronze today at 2:30. Their opponent in that game will be Finland after they lost to Sweden in the other semifinal via shootout 4-3. A handful of games in the NHL yesterday. Montreal beating Dallas 4-3 in overtime. Colorado catching just their third regulation loss of the season, 2-1 to the Panthers. Pittsburgh topped the Jackets 5-4 in OT. Vegas lost to the Hawks 3-2 also in OT. And Carolina beating Jersey 3-1. The Oil Kings rattle off a fifth straight win last night from Rogers Place 5-3 over Seattle. And in the PWHL, Montreal winners over Minnesota 3-2 in overtime. Final day of the NFL's regular season with a few games of consequence. Atlanta beat the Saints 19-17 to lock the Panthers in as NFC South champions. Cleveland beating Cincy 20-18. Myles Garrett recording 1 sack in the win to set the new single-season record with 23. Denver secured the AFC's top seed with a 19-3 win over the Chargers, and a missed field goal to end the game sends Pittsburgh to the playoffs as the AFC North champs. They win over division rival Baltimore 26-24. And it's Black Monday across the NFL. Heads have started rolling. Last night, the Falcons fire head coach Raheem Morris and GM Terry Fontenette. And this morning, Cleveland has let go head coach Kevin Stefanski. On the hardwood, 8 games total yesterday, including Detroit over Cleveland, 114-110. The Thunder lose in Phoenix, 108-105. And 3 Lakers put up 26+, including Luka Doncic's 36, as the Lakers beat Memphis 120-114. Coming up in hour 2, the Kevin Karius Show will be joined by Sportsnet's Mark Spector and Mark Masters from TSN covering the World Junior Championships. I'm Brandon Douglas at your Sports 1440 update.
Sports 1440 in West Edmonton Mall and Wetaskiwin. CKJR is a Stingray radio station.
Download the free radio player app and listen wherever you go.
When picking a New Year's resolution, try to avoid things you have no influence over.
Like bringing home the cup? That would be awesome.
But completely outside your control. Instead, pick something you can control, like bringing home some Wilhauk beef jerky.
That would also be awesome. But what if we brought the cup home to Canada and it was filled with Wilhauk beef jerky?
Okay, I'll allow it.
Wilhauk beef jerky, only available in Leduc. Get yours today, because you don't win cups with salad.
This is Andrew Walker, host of the postgame show on Sports 1440. After every hockey game this season, tune in and chime in as we talk about the game. It's all sponsored by Legacy Heating and Cooling. Don't get left in the cold. Visit legacyheating.ca.
Seriously, another door knocker? I really want to go solar, but these high-pressure tactics are exhausting.
And their prices are unbelievable. Before we do anything, let's call Great Canadian Solar.
There's a better way to go solar. Great Canadian Solar provides honest advice and fair pricing to save you from overpaying. They're easy to deal with and will never put pressure on you to buy. As a trusted local business for over 15 years, Great Canadian Solar will support you in your solar journey. Visit GreatCanadianSolar.com and call today to get started.
Heard of Uline? You know, the have-it-all in stock, ready-to-deliver shipping and industrial supply specialists. The company that does things for you that are unheard of, like keeping 41,000 items in stock in our own warehouses. Customer service reps on the line to get you what you need when you need it 24/7, 365 every time. Maybe you heard it here first. Want to hear more? Visit uline.ca. ULINE, your shipping and industrial supply specialists.
It's the place to buy a Honda. It's the place for service too. I love it. I love my Honda place. Would you buy? Would you buy? Would you buy? It's the place.
Kevin Karius Show, breaking down Edmonton's favorite teams, even though his favorite Junior A hockey team is the Yorkton Terriers. Thanks for checking in with Sports 1440.
All right, welcome back to the big program. Hour number 1 in the books here on the Kevin Karius Show with Eddie Steele, Duke of Delburne on Sports 1440 AM radio. Time now for On the Mark, brought to you by Northgate Chevrolet Buick GMC. Mike and the crew would like to thank you for all the support in 2025 and wish you a happy new year. Together, we fed almost 500 families, and we are going to do it again. Thank you from Northgate Chevrolet Buick GMC as we welcome in Mark Spector from Rogers Sportsnet. Good morning, Spec.
Boys, what's going on this morning?
Just off and running here, on a magnificent Monday. Saw you at the game on Saturday. Wasn't much of a game, was it?
No, the Oilers are a little bit sick these days, and the Team Canada's maybe worse off here. Not a great hockey weekend for us Maple Leafers.
Yeah, but you know what? Full marks to the Czechs. I mean, they played hard. They deserved to win last night.
They were the better team. There's no question. I mean, they led the whole game to, 2-1, 3-2, 4-3, 5-4. They got a goal whenever they needed it. They thought they scored grittier goals. I thought they played with more intensity. Gone are the days when we throw a line out there that runs around and bangs the other team and loosens them up and makes, remember the old days? Canada always had a line that went out and
a little bit of fear.
Crap out of the other guys. Fear, right? A little bit of fear. There's no fear left anymore.
No.
And I don't think we breed that kid. I don't think anyone breeds that player anymore. That player is extinct, isn't he? Kev, what do you think?
Well, I don't know. I'll be honest. I think that the player's still there. I think you gotta, I would say that the player is still there. I'm not sure who it is anymore, but I think down the road, and I think look at some teams that, not just at the World's Spec, but just successful teams always, they seem to have that guy. And maybe he isn't as physical to an extent where it was in the past, but there's still something there, I think.
What do you think, Eddie?
I kind of can get behind what you're saying, though, Spec. And this is a term that we don't like to use in society, but maybe sport has gone that way. There's not many bullies around in sport anymore because I think that we just don't breed kids that way to begin with. And then when you get into sport, you can have a little bit of ruggedness, but nobody is really playing sport anymore and being real dogs out there. You don't see it very often.
Yeah, it was certainly I won't speak for, you could tell me if it's going that way in football. Certainly in hockey, like just today's player, as a guy that, like, I've spent 35 years here, I greet that hockey player when he shows up in an NHL dressing room. So I don't see the guy on his way up. I don't see him in Moose Jaw. I don't see him in Shawinigan, but I see him when he gets here. If he gets here, I see him when he gets here. And that player has changed upon arrival at the Edmonton Oilers dressing room markedly. Today's player's coming out of an academy where his dad pays $40,000 a year for him to play most often. Today's player barely ever tried out for a team anymore, right? Like, guys grew up trying out for teams, and you had to do something special to make that team. And there was a competition every year to make a team. Now your dad cuts a check, you're on a team half the time, or maybe 80% of the time. So that element's gone. No one fights anymore, and that's okay. Having kids beat each other up, we don't need that anymore. But that did instill a certain level of toughness and sort of backbone when you knew that, it was a little bit kill or be killed on the way up in the old days. That's completely gone. It doesn't exist anymore, even a little bit. So the players changed, and you could say for the better, and that's fine. But then if you think that's good, and if you're going to say we're in a better place, then don't complain when a European country comes out and out-competes you in the World Junior like happened last night.
And they did. Yeah.
Very well said, Spec. Yeah. Very well said, man.
I mean, I keep bringing up Jordan Tutu, like at the World Juniors.
Oh my God.
Right?
Jordan
Spec?
Tutu.
He was trying to run guys through the boards.
Yeah.
And that changed momentum so
we don't have any of those left, do we?
I think that there are opportunities for players to play like that. You got to bring it out of them.
Is Connor Clattenburg some modern day version of that?
He is.
Yeah, he's got that edge. That I don't give a darn attitude.
It's like, I don't care about the puck.
Yeah.
Yeah, I don't mind that. I mean, the thing is, as it trends away from that player, if you are that player, you become a very unique commodity, right? If you can be that guy and stay within stay on the rails and stay out of the penalty box and not hurt your team, all of a sudden you become a pretty valuable player. If I'm Connor Clattenburg, that's what I'm saying is I'm looking around the room and saying, I'm the only guy like me in any of these rooms I'm in, right? And that's a good thing.
You need players like that. I mean, you talk about how Florida beat the Oilers, right? They had
that nastiness.
They had that edge.
Yeah, not many teams. And no, they beat everybody. Like we always say, they beat the Oilers, and they sure as heck did. But guess what? They beat everybody else in the league and out east for 3 years running. No one can beat Florida. It's not just Edmonton. So that's, there's something there, Kev, for sure.
Yeah. Mark Spector with us Monday morning, 8:06 in Edmonton. Kevin Karius, Sadie Steele with you here on Sports 1440 AM radio. We're streaming on YouTube, X, Facebook, Instagram, and Twitch as well. So, the Oilers, it looks like Kapanen's going to come back here and play with Leon Draisaitl for tomorrow's game against Nashville. What do you make of that move where he gets inserted into the lineup in that specific position, Spec?
Yeah, he's got to play somewhere. I don't, Leon's in a bit of a struggle here, right? Leon Draisaitl's having a struggle. He's got one even strength goal since December 1st. You're never going to catch me criticizing Leon Draisaitl. He's a 50-goal, 100-point guy. He'll figure it out. But right now, it's he's having a struggle. So you need to, maybe they think a little speed on his wing. I like him with Roslovic, and I'm not positive that just because Kapanen played there yesterday that's how it'll go. But, Kapanen's not a top 6 player on this team, right? I don't know why we think putting him in the top 6 is all of a sudden a good idea in his first game back. Do you?
Well, I look at it, there's more balance right, on the third line with Roslovic down there.
I guess, sure. That's how we want to do it. I mean, they're always searching for, listen, this team's bottom 6. We've hit critical mass here. It's a one-man team. It's McDavid and a bunch of guys that aren't doing enough, right? That's where we're at. McDavid's line, like Hyman's doing great. Why? Because he plays with McDavid. Nugent Hopkins doing okay because he plays with McDavid. The minute Draisaitl goes cold, that line's done because Pod Colton doesn't help you offensively, right? Yeah. He's not doing anything himself. He's not creating. And your bottom 6 is what's killing you here. Like your bottom 6 on this team is absolutely killing you. They don't have one. They got Henrique hadn't scored in 34 games, right? Frederick's got one foot in the press box and the other foot somewhere not in the arena because I never notice him. Mangiapane, they can't get him out of town fast enough. Nobody wants him. So they got no bottom 6 effect here. They're not even out there banging and fighting and hitting. If you're not scoring, do something. They're not doing anything. So it's a one-man team right now, and one-man teams don't go very far, do they?
So the onus falls on Stan Bowman. What does Stan Bowman do to buttress this roster?
Yeah, get to work, right? The problem is he's sadly in his behalf, He's made his own problems. His July 1st brought in Trent Frederick and Andrew Mangiapane, and now he'd trade either guy for future considerations, which is nothing. Like, if you came along right now and said, Stan, I'll take Frederick for nothing, he'd rip off a finger and sign that movement paper in blood. Right? Like, and Mangiapane, Elliot Friedman reports they're talking about Ryan Strome.
Mm-hmm.
You know, if they could, and I don't think that can work because Strome makes $5 million. I got an idea for you. So you're trying to trade Mangiapane for a guy that makes about the same money, right?
Mm-hmm.
Trade him for Frederick. Oh, wait a sec. I guess you can't do
that. Yeah, well, I mean, Strome's at $5 million this year and next year.
Yeah, and Mangiapane's at 3.6 this year and next year. So,
right.
And Strome, I mean, he's got 10 points or something, and he's sitting out every second game. There's no point. Like, that's throwing good money after bad. They got a $3.6 million problem in Mangiapane. Don't turn it into a $5 million problem in Strome. So that trade doesn't make any sense. But to your question, Eddie, like, he's got to solve the problems he made for himself on July 1st and then start solving the new problems. You know, a guy like Ken Reek, he's half a season here without a goal, right? Half a season without a goal. Like, has he fallen off the cliff? Is this where the older player just falls off the cliff and we tip our hat to a great career and see you later? Or is there something more there? I don't know.
Yeah, and I mean, we talked Frederick a bunch. He's got 3 points in half a season. So it's pretty dire down there, man.
Yeah, they got no help down there at all. You can't win without a bottom six producing a little. You know, I keep coming back to the formula. McDavid's going to get you a goal. The power play is going to get you a goal. Then you got 3 lines and 6 defensemen to get you the third goal, and 3-2 wins in this league. You know, we should add, this is the 29th worst defensive team in the league, guys. Look at their goals against per game. I believe they're at 29, right?
Yeah.
They're not keeping it out of their net. So if you can't score, you better keep it out. And that's where we're at. Now, having said that, they're sitting right around first place. And if they fix some problems, they're going to be fine. But they got some problems to fix here, and they're not going to fix themselves.
Hey, Speck, where are you at with Jake Wallman? I mean, that's another thing. So no one really knows what it is. It's undisclosed. He's been on LTIR for a while now. I mean, he's almost 30 years old. He hasn't been a dependable guy for 4 or 5 years now, where he hasn't played more than 65 games in a season. Where are you at with him?
Yeah, I'm certainly nervous if I'm the Oilers. I signed this guy. Did he sign an 8-year deal or 7?
I think it was 7. Yeah.
Yeah. And he's been hurt ever since he's been here. And he doesn't come back real quick either. So, you know what? Like, a guy that's on LTIR all the time at his age, is that going to get better? Is this just a flash in the pan and he's going to start having healthy seasons? Hopefully for the Oilers he is. Or is he a guy that's going to be hurt for the rest of his life? I don't know. Nobody knows, right?
And he's got no movement for 4 years here.
Boy, they hand those things out like it's candy, huh?
They do, huh, Eddie?
Is that like, we have heard over the years, you got to get players to Edmonton. It's hard to do so. If only they could see an Edmonton summer. They have Connor McDavid and Leon, 2 of the best players in the world. The facilities are outstanding. It's not troublesome to get players to Edmonton. The salary cap, you're all making money. Like, it's so confusing, man.
Yeah, I agree. Let's go back to Frederick. Was anyone in the league challenging you on Frederick at 8 years? Why aren't you signing him for 4 years? You know, Wallman, 7 years. I mean, really? Like, you had to give him a 7-year no move deal. So yeah, that's an issue for sure. And if you're going to sign those guys, like, those contracts better work out. Because Mangiapane, 2-year deal, man. If it doesn't work out, you might have to be stuck with this guy for the 1 year. You can move a salary 3.6. You can get out of that one, no problem, Eddie. You're not getting out of Trent Frederick. You're not getting out of Jake Wallman if they don't work out. You have to be critically, absolutely sure they're going to work. And I mean, right now, Trent Frederick looks like the worst contract since I've covered this team. It's worse than Jack Campbell.
I was just going to say Trent Frederick is the new Jack Campbell contract.
Yeah. It is. It's the worst contract in the history of contracts for the Edmonton Oilers, unless something changes. I mean, maybe it's one bad year. Maybe he figures it out. Like, nice kid, good guy.
Yeah.
The Oilers could use whatever it is he used to bring. But I'll tell you right now, like I'm not sure. Listen, buddy, I could think of 10 guys on the minor league team could come up and have 3 points in a half a season. Okay.
Easily.
Right.
Easily.
Maybe 15. So is he an NHL player? Like that's we're about to start to have that debate. Is Trent Frederick an NHL player?
Oh.
I'm not sure.
Well,
Doesn't
you know
feel
what?
like
But the buyout goes all the way to 2040. You know that, Spec?
You can't buy him out. You can't buy out
2040.
It's 2026.
Yeah. And Campbell, Jack Campbell he's at 2.3 on the cap this year, 2.6 next year, 1.5 all the way through till 29-30.
Listen, you don't always, every deal's not going to be a good deal. Some of them aren't going to work out. I respect that and I understand that. And we should, if we're going to rip Bowman for all these things, you got to remember Podkolzin. You got to remember Roslovic. You got to remember, he's made some nice deals. Picking up Connor Ingram for nothing looks like a really sharp deal, right? So he's done lots of nice little deals here for sure. But I'm going to say to you, you get to the Stanley Cup final and the last year, and the two guys you signed on July 1st, Jeff Skinner and Victor Arvidsson, are sitting in a press box. What if they were impactful, really good players? Do you win the cup? Maybe.
Yeah.
If they're both top 6 players that are getting the job done and you're happy you signed them, maybe you win the cup. And here we are this year. Your 2 signings on July 1st are taking turns in the press box, Frederick and Mangiapane. And if you don't win this year, do we look back and say, man, a fruitful July 1st, you might have finally won that cup. You might have finally accomplished it. But maybe you never do if you blow July 1st every year. July 1st, important day. And the Oilers it's been a disaster.
Terrible.
For the Bowman-Jackson regime. Absolute disaster. And they haven't won. And we're going to look back at July 1st as the primary reason, perhaps, aren't we?
Yep. Good stuff, Spec. We'll see you down at the rink at some point.
All right. Sounds good, boys.
Mark Spector from Rogers Sportsnet on the mark, powered by Northgate Chevrolet Buick GMC. This truck's for you. Check them out at northgategm.com. When we come back, Mark Masters from TSN will bust down the World Junior game from last night. Canada losing to the Czechs 6-4. We'll play for bronze this afternoon up against Finland. That's coming up right after the break. Kevin Karius, Eddie Steele, Duke of Delburne, and Josh Fenwick with you on Sports 1440 AM radio. We're also streaming on YouTube, X, Facebook, Instagram, and Twitch.
I skipped breakfast this morning. Stay out of my way.
Don't threaten me with your bad choices.
No worries. A booster bar from Booster Juice will fix me.
I don't even know what that is.
Yeah, because they're new. Snack-sized bars packed with seeds, pecans, gluten-free oats, all sorts of good stuff.
That sounds lovely, actually.
2 different flavors to try, too. Coconut pecan booster bars and harvest booster bars. Want to skip breakfast with me?
I take it back. You make good choices.
Booster Juice, Canadian-born, blending since 1999.
Hi, Mike here from Northgate Chevrolet Buick GMC. It's not lost on me that this radio ad competes with a lot of other dealerships on the air. So what sets us apart? Honesty. At Northgate, we believe in giving you the very best price we can with the most value possible. We aren't giving away free trips or paying off your credit cards, but it is my promise you will get exactly what you paid for every time. Stop in and see us today, 13215 97th Street, or visit us online at northgategm.com.
Smart, connected, community driven. Jason Greger sets the standard for sports talk in Edmonton. Join the conversation on Sports 1440. Text Greger 833-401-1440. Sports 1440, where Edmonton talks sports.
When the ground freezes, you wonder how anything can get done. And instead of staying outside in temperatures that would make a polar bear cry, you head inside where it's toasty and warm. But that's not what GS Construction does. Because while the ground freezes above, we plan below, rebuilding and revitalizing the systems that keep our communities working year after year. Now, don't worry. GS Construction promises to do everything safely and efficiently, and will wear our extra warm clothing outside. For more on what we do, visit gsconstruction.ca.
Craving a dining experience that rises above the rest? Head to Summit Restaurant, nestled in the heart of the Silent Ice Center and just minutes from South Edmonton Common. Savor Summit's exceptional house-made pizza, delectable entrees, and expertly crafted cocktails, all served in a stylish, modern atmosphere. For a casual meal or a special night on the town, Summit Restaurant offers a straightforward yet refined experience where every bite and sip reflects our dedication to quality. Elevate your dining experience. Visit Summit Restaurant tonight.
Get ready
We're going to make you an offer you can't refuse.
Shoresy's back, and it's only on Crave.
We need total buy-in from every guy in this room.
The Smash Hit Series returns for a brand new season.
We're going to be playing the EU All-Stars.
Shoresy is facing his toughest competition yet.
This EU team is spectacular.
They are not staying till then.
Hear that, Shoresy?
Let's make sure they never forget who we are.
Shoresy, new season, stream now, only on Crave. Subscribe at crave.ca.
River Cree is the place for all your favorite sports. River Cree Resort and Casino, featuring UFC action and boxing live on the big screens at Tap 25, the MVP of sports bars, and in the Center Bar. Plus, catch this fall's biggest games. Every goal, every tackle, every home run. River Cree is also home to the Twin Rinks, where rec hockey and community teams come to play. Public skating available. Details at rivercreeresort.com.
River Cree Resort and Casino. Excitement. Bet on it.
Stories, guests, and insights. This is Sports 1440 and the Kevin Karius Show.
All right, welcome back to the big program, 8:20 in Edmonton, and time now for the headliner of the day, brought to you by Mr. Reuter Plumbing. The plumber to call when the toilet mysteriously breaks after your jalapeno pepper popper fueled game night with the fellas. That's mrreuter.ca. As we welcome in Mark Masters from TSN, covering the World Junior Championship. Morning, Mark. You're with Kevin Karius and former Grey Cup champion Eddie Steele. Thanks for jumping on Sports 1440 this morning. Really appreciate it.
My pleasure.
So, what did you make of last night's tilt? Canada exits the World Championship Juniors, Mark, and you know what? Full marks to the Czechs. They had a whale of a game last night.
Yeah, they were really good last night. They were just on it, and that's a really good team. Their defense, in particular, is just so deep and mobile, and super impressive Czechia team at this year's World Juniors. Certainly disappointing for Canada, but no shame losing to this Czech team. With the way they played last night.
What do you think was missing for Team Canada, Mark?
I think when you look at the team, they can certainly score. We saw that again last night, but just couldn't quite shut things down. Defensively, I think is what you're going to look at when you think back on this tournament. And, you know, if they weren't going to get Matthew Schaefer, but a Sam Dickinson, if San Jose had loaned him, that would have probably made a big difference. But I think when you look at it, I thought the goaltending was fine, especially when they went to Jack Ivankovic. Goaltending last night's not the reason they lost. They just, I don't think, got enough out of their defense and weren't able to kind of lock things down.
Mm-hmm.
Mark, I just wanted to ask about the crowds down at the World Juniors, because there's a lot to do about the size of the crowds and maybe the lack of people attending the event. What is your opinion on that, and what did you notice?
Well, I noticed a lot of empty seats. Yeah, I mean, I think that the political climate probably contributes to that. Not as many Canadian fans coming down. They put Canada in its own pool. The hosts, Americans, had the ability to make a change to the groups, and they put Canada away from the U.S. when they were supposed to be in the same group. So Canada was in the smaller building, 10,000 seats, 3M Arena over at the University of Minnesota, and the Americans were in the Minnesota Wilds Arena here, the Grand Casino Arena, which was pretty full for the U.S. games. But outside of that, the buildings were pretty empty. So I'm sure it's, again, as I mentioned, the political climate impacting Canadians' plans to travel down. I'm sure part of it is just maybe the price points. And yeah, I just think sometimes when you leave Canada, it's best to go to smaller venues, especially for your secondary building. That would have probably been the wiser move. So the organizing committee is going to have a news conference today, and we'll see what they have to say for themselves and where things kind of went wrong with the ticket sales, because Minnesota is obviously the state of hockey. That's how it's kind of, that's the slogan, and it did not look that way here.
No, it didn't. Mark Masters with us on the Kevin Karius Show with Eddie Steele on Sports 1440. Who impressed you personally, individually, on the Canadian roster in this tournament?
Michael Hage, Montreal Canadiens prospect, was the center of their most consistent line. I'm not sure how he wasn't named one of their three top players by management at the end of the tournament when they announced the three top guys. I thought he deserved that. A really tough quarter or semifinal for him, where he hits three posts and has two penalty shots, and it just did not fall for him. But I mean, he was all over it. I was really impressed with him. Very impressive players. So Michael Hage stood out, and Brady Martin, he gets hurt in that game last night. That was a big play because he had been a guy who kind of the straw that stirs the drink. Nashville Predators fifth overall pick. When he got hurt, things got a little jumbled. Obviously, they only dressed 11 forwards yesterday instead of 13 because they wanted to go with 8 defensemen, and just felt like they really missed him as a guy, just as a personality too. Really fun guy to be around. He's got this pre-game routine of eating 2 chocolate glazed donuts from Timmy's, and the guys were loving that. And he's just he was a very impressive guy. So Brady Martin, Michael Hage for me kind of are guys that I didn't know quite as well, and I really got to know during this experience, and very impressive.
Yeah.
Overall, from the Team Canada perspective, what did you think about the attitude? Maybe, there's some talk, some noise surrounding the team in terms of the way the players handled some of the losing, and just the overall attitude from Team Canada, maybe a bit of arrogance. Did you get any of those sentiments from any of the players, and just what's your opinion from what you witnessed?
I don't know if it was arrogance. I think this group had a healthy confidence and certainly they came into the tournament talking about wanting to be the dream killers, which is a phrase they had used at the under 18 level with the assistant coach on this year's staff, Gardner McDougall. He was the head coach of a gold medal winning team at the under 18 level. So, when you go kind of to a different country, you're trying to, it's kind of us against the world kind of mentality a little bit. So they were trying to harness that. I'm not sure, if I understand if it's overconfidence or hubris, but Michael Misa did admit after the game he felt like the Czechs outcompeted and were hungrier, and actually the Czech coach said that his team was hungrier as well. So for whatever reason, that's the way it looked. For sure, the Czechs were just on it, but I don't know why. You need a therapist maybe to figure that out. But I didn't sense overconfidence going into the game. They were really motivated to try and beat Czechia in the knockout stage after Czechia had won the last 2 years in the knockout stage against them.
Yeah. What did you make of the goaltending switch with Ivan Kovac going in for Carter George?
Yeah, it was a good switch. I mean, Carter George, he's got a tremendous track record. He was great last year in Ottawa, but .844 save percentage. Did not quite look like he was on his game here at the World Juniors. And so you go, we talked coming into the tournament about Canada having an advantage in goal because of their depth. This is the first time we've seen 2 returning goalies. Jack Ivan Kovac was also on that team last year, and he lost a heartbreaker in a shootout to Latvia, but he was good in that game, and he's been amazing at the University of Michigan. So why not give him a shot? It wasn't his fault last night. I thought he was really solid, even though he gives up 5. So I didn't mind the change there. Ivan Kovac actually is among the guys who are eligible to come back next year, so he'll be the guy you would have to think next year. But why not? And it's funny because the third goalie on Canada, Joshua Ravensbergen, was probably be the starter on most teams at this tournament. So Canada had incredible depth in net, and they used it. And I didn't think goaltending was a problem for this team in the games at the end.
Mark Masters from TSN, our guest on the Kevin Carey Show with Eddie Steele. What did you think of Gavin McKenna's play in the tournament, Mark, in the sense that when the bigger competition came about, maybe he didn't rise to elevate his game to match?
I would say he, probably got a little quieter towards the end of it since that hat trick against Denmark. Mm-hmm. He still had flashes and moments, as you'd expect from a guy with the talent that he has, but he couldn't quite break through in a way like Ivar Stenberg. When you're looking at the draft class for next year, he had a huge game in the semifinals, probably his best game of the tournament for Sweden in their semifinal win against Finland. So he elevated, and it felt like McKenna just wasn't able to get there at this tournament and have kind of that moment, right? Whether it's a Connor Bedard moment or whatever, just kind of have that flash where you're like, okay, this is the guy. And he had the big game against Denmark, but could not quite reach that level. And we'll see what he's got today. I mean, there's still a medal on the line here today. This tournament's not done. When the dust settles on this tournament, he's going to have a very impressive point total. He's going to be right at the top of the scoring race, but I think it's fair to say that in these last couple of games, he wasn't quite able to elevate.
Mm-hmm. Now, do you think that this tournament will impact his draft status at all?
I was talking to Craig Button about that, our TSN director of scouting, after the game for our Sports Center hit, and he believes the gap is closing at the top of this draft class. So, if you came into this World Juniors thinking, okay, is McKenna going to reassert himself at the top of the class? I don't think that's what's happened here. If anything, it's getting closer. And there's a couple of impressive defensemen. Mm-hmm. This Albert Smiths guy out of Latvia, he was really impressive. and Keaton Verhoff on Team Canada as a big right shot defenseman, Carson Carls in Canada, and another defenseman. So a lot of really good draft eligible talent at this year's World Juniors. And it feels like it's going to be a race now to the finish. And we'll see. Stenberg's got another chance here tonight. If he has another big game in the gold medal and Sweden snaps their long drought and he's a big part of it, I mean, that's going to resonate with the scouts and the general managers here. So, it does feel like it's another kind of event where, things are getting closer at the top of the draft.
Yeah. Mark Masters with us in Sports 1440. What do you make of the gold medal matchup tonight? So Sweden coming off the big win over Finland, and then the Czechs, again, they could surprise some, and it's been 25 years, and it's been, 14 for Sweden. So something's going to change when it comes to the gold medal.
Yeah, it's going to be amazing. What a storyline. Probably not the final the organizers were looking for. Maybe not the sexiest matchup for television either in North America, but like two countries that are desperate for a gold medal at this level. The Swedes, I don't think were great yesterday. I thought actually Finland was the better team, but they were talking to them afterwards. They were just saying, okay, now the pressure is off. We don't have to worry about, all the, you choked or you're underachieved or anything. So they can kind of play a little bit more free, and they have the slight advantage of having played the earlier semifinals. So we'll see how they can do. And Czechia, man, what a team. Yeah. I really enjoyed watching them at this tournament, and I'll enjoy watching them again. Maybe it's because they have so many CHL players and they play that North American style, but and they seem to do it really well. So it's going to be a fascinating game here to see which one of these two countries can end the drought. Swedes are, again, probably feeling like this is one they got to win. So I'll be intrigued to see how they handle the pressure there and how Stenberg performs. But, man, there's something about the Czechs. If I had to pick, I kind of like the Czechs in this one.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Hey, Mark, I want to just switch up gears really quick. I know you're down there covering the World Juniors, but you also cover the Leafs. And the Leafs, they're sitting 8th in the Atlantic, yet they're only 3 points out of a wild card spot. Do you think there is a world where you could see the Leafs making the playoffs this year?
Oh, yeah, for sure. I mean, it's just so tight, and it's going to be hard, no doubt about it. There's just a lot of teams to jump over, and, you're going to have to go on a run. Your margin for error is so slim. Even you saying that they're 8th in the Atlantic, I'm like, oh my goodness, it feels like they've had a good run. They've got a 6-game point streak and they're still 8th in the division, right? Like, so that's the problem, is that now if you do stumble and have a 2 or 3 game losing streak, now the hole gets deeper. And what if you run into more injuries? And yeah, so they're up against it, but they're absolutely capable of doing it. Certainly watching from afar, Austin Matthews finding his game in a way that he did not have earlier in the season is a big development for them. But yeah, they've put themselves in a big hole here. It's not easy in this era of the NHL with the 3-point games to gain ground. So it's going to be tough, but they're capable if they can just kind of build on what they've been doing here the last little bit, because there's, as you mentioned, it's not a huge hole point wise. It's just, you're going to have to, jump over all of these different teams, and Ottawa's just in front of them in the Atlantic Division standings. And I think Ottawa's, deserves probably better, and they've had some issues, and their goaltending and Allmark's away right now. So, man, it's going to be an interesting race in the Eastern Conference. Everything's so bunched up together. It's going to be a fascinating playoff push there.
Do you think the Leafs are going to make some bigger moves, some moves here as we kind of near the trade deadline?
I don't think so. I mean, I don't think they're going to sell, certainly. Like, they don't, like, their first-round pick is top 5 protected. They traded it to the Bruins for Brandon Carlo. I mean, I'm sure they'll try and improve the roster if they can, especially if they're still hanging around the race, and try and make, this is Austin Matthews is still in his prime here, and they want to maximize those years. So they're not in sell mode, certainly. And they just don't have a lot of assets, right? I mentioned the first round pick's already gone for the next 2 years. They just don't have a lot of assets in the cupboard. Ben Danford was a defenseman that played for Team Canada here, did not have the greatest tournament, frankly. But he would be a prospect that maybe they could use to move, but they're kind of stuck a little bit right now in terms of not being able to make a big splash. So, and that's why Craig Berube was kind of on the hot seat earlier in the season. It's just, there wasn't much else you could do. And they do make the change with Mark Savard getting fired, and that seems to have breathed life into the power play. So that's been a big development for them. But yeah, I don't think it's going to be the busiest trade kind of period or move period for the Leafs. I think this is just kind of who they are.
Yeah. What kind of job do you think Craig Berube's done this year?
Well, I mean, listen, the power play, because I know it was Mark Savard overseeing it, but he's the head coach and he works with Savard. He brought Savard in. He worked with him in St. Louis. I mean, that's been a huge. I can't believe the Leafs have been that bad on the power play, and he has to wear that a little bit too. And he's supposed to be a motivator, and he's supposed to be a guy who can push the right buttons. And they just, on a couple of nights this year, haven't had it. So you can't give them a great grade, right? With where they're at, they're below expectations. So we'll see if he can get it out. They're good. They have a lot of faith in him. Certainly Keith Pelly coming in now, the new head honcho at MLC. He met with him after the season last year and called him an amazing asset and really, spoke very highly of him. So there's a lot of belief in him. He's won a Stanley Cup, that he can figure it out. And it does feel like they've turned a bit of a corner here, and maybe Berube is making some changes. But the first half, I don't think was great for the coaching staff.
Personally, so do you get a little bit of time off here for, after the juniors end? And because it's a breakneck pace for you here the last couple of weeks, Mark.
Yeah, I think December 12th we left for training camp. I got a few days. Here, and then back to the Leafs grind. I think we're going out west next week, actually, if you can believe it, to Denver, Utah, and to see old friend Mitch Marner for the first time in Vegas. So that will be a huge game, and that's on TSN. So we're excited for that. And then Winnipeg. So it's a 4-game. I'll be out west again next week. But I got a few days at home. Looking forward to seeing the wife and kid and do some laundry, and then back out on the road. Such is the life, and the grind is real.
You betcha it is. Hey, thanks so much for spending some time with us this morning. Really appreciate it. Enjoy the 2 games today.
I will. Thanks, guys. Happy New Year.
Yeah, Happy New Year to you too as well. That's Mark Masters from TSN, our headliner of the day, brought to you by Mr. Rooter, the number 1 overall pick in your fantasy plumbing pool. That's mrrooter.ca. Almost a month, eh? Like you think
That's a long time.
You said December 12th.
Yeah.
Go down there for, camp. And that was in Buffalo, I think, Niagara Falls or something like that. But anyway, so now you're, from there, you go to Minnesota.
Yeah, it's a long grind.
And
then home and right back on the road again.
Wow. That's the thing when you're like a high profile job like that. And, he's, one of the main guys for the World Juniors. So it ain't easy. That's for sure.
It ain't easy. Being cheesy.
Text 833-401-1440. We'll get to some of the texts.
Well, I got to say, Mark was, you can read some texts away, KK, but while Mark was talking, SKS stopped by, dropped a little something for you.
Well, it looks like it says
that
CSGW Critters
thing
jacket.
is sick. That's
like
nice,
that?
man. Are
Duke
you kidding
has
me?
one too.
That thing is nice.
You've got one as well.
I got gifted one of the last game.
Yeah,
and because they ordered those quite a few years ago, I think now, and they had a couple extras lying around.
It looks like it's going to be a little tight in the shoulders.
For me.
No, for me.
Kevin. Don't make me humiliate you on air.
Humiliate. Come on now. When we come back, I guess we're going to go in or out with Eddie Steele. Just got the list, the lineup here. I'll have to check it out. Bradley Cooper turns 51 today. That's question number 5.
Interesting.
Oh, and I'm going to be out on it as well already, Duke. Going to be out on it as well. That's coming up right after the break. We'll go in or out with Eddie Steele on the Kevin Karius Show with the Duke of Delburne. Josh Fenwick on Sports 1440 AM radio. We're streaming on YouTube, X, Facebook, Instagram, and Twitch.
Looking for the perfect used ride? Now's the time. Drive away for as little as $25 bi-weekly. Go Auto has over 7,500 used vehicles in stock with something for everyone. From budget-friendly cars and road trip-ready SUVs to powerful work-ready trucks. With around 70 locations across Canada, your next vehicle is closer than you think. Whether you're upgrading, downsizing, or buying for the first time, we've got the right ride at the right price. But don't wait. These deals won't stick around forever. Start shopping today at goauto.ca.
Wing Wednesday at First Round. Whether you're coming for the first round, the last round, or a few rounds in between, they've got you covered. With half-price wings every Wednesday night. Half-price wings. Over 35 delicious flavors like Cajun salt and pepper, maple bacon, and Inferno wings. Now half price every Wednesday night. Wash them down with a cold pint of Canadian or Coors Light for only $5.75. Half price Wing Wednesdays at First Round in West End and now downtown. First Round, burgers, beer, sports.
Mr. Rooter goes skiing. Sick gear, Mr. Rooter. Are you ready to hit the slopes?
Not yet. I need to report a possible crime.
Oh no, what's happening?
I saw a bunch of hooligans discussing shredding the half pipe. As a plumber, I've taken the Hippocratic Oath to do no harm and act in the best interest of all pipes, whether PVC, copper, or otherwise.
It's made of snow, Mr. Rooter.
Snow? Things are worse than I had feared.
There's no better plumber than Mr. Rooter.
Andrew Walker, host of the postgame show on Sports 1440. After every hockey game this season, tune in and chime in as we talk about the game. It's all sponsored by Legacy Heating and Cooling. Don't get left in the cold. Visit legacyheating.ca.
At Fountain Tire, success is a team effort. They're committed to their team members and their customers. And that means treating your vehicle like it's their own and finding solutions that suit your needs. Because whatever the road brings ahead, they're on it with you. Visit fountaintire.com today.
Diablo Boots sells only Canadian-made work and biker boots made by Canada West. No American or boots made in China, so no tariffs. All of Diablo's boots have replaceable soles and heels for longer life. Sizes 6 to 14 Triple E. Buy quality, buy Canadian, and support Canada West and Diablo, the two best names in the boot business. So save on boots by Save On Foods. That's Diablo Boots, 3340 Gateway Boulevard on the east side of Save On Foods. Buy Canadian. They're terrific.
Have your sports curiosity cured with the Kevin Karius Show. This is Sports 1440.
All right, welcome back to the big program. 840 in Edmonton. Kevin Karius, Eddie Steele with you. We got the Duke of Delburne and Josh Fenwick in our Sports 1440 studios here at West Edmonton Mall. Time now for Are You In or Out? Maybe not. Maybe. Could be not be.
Okay, you know what? Moving too fast. Bottom line, are you in or are you out?
In or out of what?
No time for questions, just action. In or out?
Well, then I'm out.
I'm sorry, Jet. Actually, you're already in.
Are you in or are you out?
On Sports 1440.
I thought you would go, I'm in, Bob. We would have had a really cool moment, but you kind of ruined the whole thing.
All right, Duke. Letterbuck.
Rewinding to a Saturday afternoon here in the city. The Oilers losing 5-2 at the hands of the Philadelphia Flyers after a red-hot run, particularly the month of December, in which Connor McDavid put up points that we have not seen in the NHL in some time. His point streak continues, but I do think it is time for Ryan Nugent-Hopkins to take a turn trying to solve the team's bottom six issues as the third-line center.
Sure, why not? I mean, anything. I mean, it can't get worse on the bottom six here. But give him a real spin here then. Don't just do it for a game or two. And again, you can have, if you had RNH and Jack Roslovic on that third line, I think that's a hell of a start. And if you can plug in whoever it's going to be, maybe it's Ike Howard again, and he goes for a little ride, a little test drive here on that line with Connor and Zach Hyman. But I mean, it can't get worse. What we were seeing for production from the bottom six. It can't.
Rock bottom.
Yeah.
We've talked a lot about trust and Knobloch's trust. I don't trust Coach Knobloch to trust the guys that he's going to put with RNH. Yes, I'm in. Let RNH get a spin, but I don't trust Coach Knobloch to have a long enough leash for the players that he would slot with RNH. And then I don't trust them to keep that line together, and therefore it would be RNH right back to the top with McDavid.
Right.
I looking at the Saturday game specifically, right? And we see the kid line get deployed. And yes, their minutes were incredibly limited and we didn't get much of a look at them at all. But I also at the same time thought that was a really tough spot to put not just the three players collectively, but Matt Savoyan. He has not played center all year. And now, and listen, he grew up playing up. That's all good and fine. But the NHL level is obviously a different beast. And the one goal loses the face-off that kind of directly leads to, I think it was the Sealer goal, right? If my memory serves correct, he was the centerman on the ice for that. That's a tough spot to be put in. So get some reliability there. If you want to keep at least two of these younger players in the lineup. In the case of Savoy, either Howard or Hudson, take your pick. Balance them out. Put them, they're skilled players, play them with skilled players. And like you said, Kevin, don't give it a one-period flash in the pan and be like, well, we don't have any results. We have to go back, break glass in case of emergency. You've got yourself as a team back into a spot where you have a little bit of wiggle room here. You can't afford to drop a handful of games in a row. You're right back outside the playoff picture, but you're competing for first place. And you need to get this stuff figured out, as Speck eloquently put, before the trade deadline. Because then you need to know what you have and what you don't. Whereas right now it's like, well, we have a couple really good players and the rest is pretty unknown or straight up poor, right? And so I think a long run here, or at least a decent run, maybe better put, of experimenting with a little more balance in the way they construct the lineup. At the World Juniors, Team Canada falling in the semifinal to the Czechs, meaning a third straight year of not competing for a gold medal. Also a third straight year they are dispatched at the hands of the Czech team. Canada's biggest issue this year was the underperformance of the blue line.
Yeah, I'm probably going to go in on that one, Duke. I mean, Perek was good offensively, but had some warts
he was
defensively.
turnover happy yesterday, and like defending wise, it's not his strength. He's an offensive guy.
McKenzie had the turnover yesterday too.
Yeah.
I mean, Harrison Brunick, I thought was going to be a lot better than what he showed.
He underwhelmed for a guy that's been playing in the NHL this season, and maybe that's partially on us that we expect too much just because he's playing in the NHL. Maybe the same for Michael Misa, who had moments, but also had moments of showing what he's capable of, but also had moments of like, what are we doing here? So, and like, I'll be like, Kevin, I thought Cameron Reed was maybe the team's worst player in the tournament. And he was trotted out there as Zane Perek's partner. It never changed.
Yeah.
They played every game together. They led the team in minutes. And I could not, for the life of me, figure out why. I didn't know what he brought to the blue line. And in a game yesterday where you dress 8 defensemen, and they did it for a couple games, right? Which left them a little shorthanded in a literal sense because they didn't have a 13th forward to replace Brady Martin and keep the lines rolling. I would have liked to see a little more Keaton Verhoff and Carson Carrolls.
Yeah.
If I'm being very frank, because I was just so unimpressed by the rest of the blue liners. You have 8 guys, roll them out there. Roll them out there. So there were plenty of positives. The goaltending was good. I thought Michael Hage was good. I love Brady Martin. It's a shame he got hurt. But yeah, the defense group on collective, like pretty much to a man, left me wanting more all of the past 2 weeks.
I thought that, like with O'Reilly and Denoyer and Baudouin, I thought that line showed some stuff at times.
Well, Sam O'Reilly was named one of the team's top 3 players.
They had some chemistry between the 3 of them there, but I'll be in on it, Duke, again with the question. The defense was underwhelming for sure.
Yeah, underperformed. I'll be in on the question too, and then just with an asterisk, slightly controversial, but too much Ontario on the roster.
That's always controversial, Eddie.
Too much Ontario.
Always a sticking point for those of us out here on this side of the country. Over to the NFL. Yesterday, of course, was the conclusion of the regular season, and with that comes Black Monday. Last night, Raheem Morris was fired by Atlanta. Atlanta also firing their general manager. Kevin Stefanski, 2-time Coach of the Year winner, let go by the Browns this morning. The Bengals announcing they will be retaining Zach Taylor as well as their general manager after another disappointing campaign down in Cincinnati. And Stefanski specifically, this is a good football coach. I think he will be the next head coach of the New York Football Giants.
I can't see why not.
Yeah.
I mean, I don't know. There's tons of candidates out there, so anybody could get it. But Stefanski's going to be at the top of the list for any organization. So, yeah, I could see it being a reality, especially with Jackson Dart and Stefanski. I think that there could be a little bit of a chemistry and a relationship there.
Sure. I'm going to go in as this on this one as well. I think it's a good fit. I mean, again, it's almost like you can't get any worse here. I mean, you think about the football landscape in New York with the Jets and the Giants.
Well, the Jets are that. You can be the Jets. That's worse.
I guess you could.
Very, very quick aside, just while we're on that. Do you guys think Aaron Glenn is back after one season as head coach of the Jets?
I do.
He's a defensive guy.
Yeah.
They had one of the worst defenses in the league.
Zero interceptions.
First time in NFL history, a team goes an entire season without
What
recording
was
an
the ratio?
interception.
I saw the number. It was like teams passed for 36 touchdowns and the Jets had 0 interceptions.
Oh, there was a number that if you
That's
were
crazy.
it was just every quarterback that played the Jets and like their average numbers per game.
Mm-hmm.
It was essentially the MVP of the league was just the quarterback that played the Jets. If for all intents and purposes, the numbers were staggering. And like, this is Aaron Glenn's bread and butter. It's first year. He doesn't pick the roster, right? There is a GM, but at the same time, like, at what point do you like? I clearly have no grip on this team. And yes, they traded away a couple of their best defensive players. That all matters. But man, like firing a coach after one season has become a little more normalized than it used to be. I'm interested to see how this morning develops and if he will in fact be back. But elsewhere, kind of doing some post-mortems on the non-playoff teams. A couple sneaking in yesterday. Of course, the Carolina Panthers, by virtue of a Falcons win, get the NFC South title. And then in the AFC North, that thrilling Sunday nighter, the Steelers get in under the wire as the final playoff team for this year's dance. I think the most disappointing campaign from a team this year is actually the Atlanta Falcons.
There's so many to choose from here.
There really are.
Remember at the start of the year, Duke, I had the Falcons pushing Tampa.
You're like, this team could win the division.
Yeah.
And guess what?
They almost did.
They had the record tied for the top spot in the division, despite the fact they were eliminated from playoffs officially on December the 7th.
So they finish at 8-9. Tampa and Carolina all at 8-9. Just a terrible, terrible division. I mean, the Saints had 6 wins. That's how bad the division is.
Well, they were winners. I think the Saints were like winners of like 5 in a row going into yesterday.
So anyway, I mean, with Atlanta, there's so they have those 2 studs on the 2 top draft picks.
Yep.
In Pierce and what's the other guy's name? Duke.
Pierce and Walker.
Walker, yeah. I mean, to be honest, Kirk Cousins, he does the job. He does the job.
Would you roll back with him?
No, it'll come back. Right? Well,
no.
But you know what I'm saying? Like, I mean,
I feel you.
for a backup quarterback,
too expensive though.
For sure. But I mean, finally, maybe Kyle Pitts can get something going.
Yes.
I mean, Drake London is a hell of a receiver.
He's a good one.
They have arguably the most exciting player in the game in Bijan. It's probably between him and Gibbs.
Yeah, and Bijan came on late too this season.
So I'm going to be in Duke. I thought the Falcons could, and they pissed a couple games away here. I thought they were going to.
They lost to the Jets.
Yeah,
I'm going to be out. They're just like Kevin said, one of many teams.
What team do you have?
Well, I'm going to say
the Lions.
The Bengals is one. The Lions is another. Yeah. The Baltimore Ravens going into the season was everybody's number one team, number one roster. Yeah. And they came out and had a stinker of a season. There's a few. The Vikings, I would place. Look what the Vikings were last year. Yeah. And they didn't have a ton except for they lost Sam Darnold. Lo and behold.
They finished on a nice hot streak, Eddie.
Yeah, they finished on a hot streak, but then JJ gets hurt again in the last game. Like, it's not good. So there's a lot of teams that you could really put in that category, man. The Lions, that's one I forgot about too.
The Lions, I mean,
geez, NFC dominant last couple of seasons. Didn't make the playoffs.
Yeah, so the Falcons as a team had, I believe, over 50 sacks as a defensive group. Pretty good number. Kyle Pitts just shy of 1,000-yard season. Drake London just shy of 1,000 yards in just 12 games played. Robinson over 2,200 scrimmage yards on the year. And you had your backup quarterback, veteran one at that, come in and play a very respectable level of football after your supposed to be new franchise guy goes down to injury. And that team does not make the playoffs. It's perplexing. And all those other teams you listed, Eddie, they all have valid cases. I think the Ravens, the way they lose last night, but Lamar was hurt and they had some other injuries around the team. I get it. They were favorites coming into the season, but you still have to look at that team. You're like, Zay Flowers, really good season. Is he a difference maker receiver? some will say, yes, I'm not sold just yet. It relied too much on your tight ends to be your pass catchers. Derrick Henry, another solid. So I don't know. The Ravens, I just think like the Falcons, the more frustrating team when you look at the roster on whole. But as we talked about on Friday, Eddie, with Cordell Woodland, like you can put the Falcons and the Ravens almost in the same camp, that on paper these teams should be playing in the Super Bowl, and neither are even going to make the playoffs this year. Lastly, Bradley Cooper, as Kevin so eloquently spoiled before the break, turns 51 years old today. Great catalog of works, award-winning actor, some great credits as well as a producer, writer, director. But I think his best was in the film covering the life and times of Chris Kyle in American Sniper.
You like that movie? Huh?
I really liked that movie. I thought it was excellent.
Oh man, he's kind of one of my favorite actors, to be honest with you.
Really? You got a little thing for
a man
him, huh?
crush? Do I? Yeah, no. I think it's got to be. I really liked him in with Lady Gaga there.
Stars Born.
Stars Born.
Yeah.
Can you sing the song at all?
Oh, I sing them all.
Let's hear it.
Which one?
The Stars Born song.
Well, you don't even know.
Shallow.
Hey?
Shallow. Yeah, that's
Can
it.
you do it? How come you? Hey.
Tell me something, girl. Are you living in a modern world?
Not bad.
Oh man.
That's a good one. He does have a nice catalog. I will say there's going to be a couple here. Duke, The Hangover. He was really classic in The Hangover. But then, oh man, I had two. I just lost my other one.
But it's so for The Hangover, I do think like the original Hangover,
the original
one of the best comedies of the decade, in a decade that was riddled with them. But I thought that he was largely outshone in that movie by Zach Galifianakis and Ed Helms.
Fair.
I thought he was the third best character in the movie itself.
How about Limitless?
Yeah,
Popping them pills.
I like that one.
Mr. Unlimited?
Yeah.
You know where he was? I liked him because he had those real thick glasses. He was in War Dogs.
Oh yeah,
and it
that's
was
a
a
good
bit
one.
part, right? He was like a supporting actor.
Mhm.
But I just like his character in that movie, War Dogs.
Silver Linings Playbook, a very popular choice, I would think,
American
here
Hustle?
with Jennifer Lawrence. Yes, American Hustle as well. His voice role as Rocket the Raccoon in Guardians of the Galaxy and the Avenger movies.
Yeah,
maybe that tickles some people's fancy. And how about this one? So this just came out a couple years ago. I've never seen it, but it's like he's won awards for it. Is Maestro, and it's a biographical romantic drama film. American composer Leonard Bernstein and his wife.
Right up your alley.
Yeah, hey, I love the historical picks.
Yes, that's what you love about
I like
it.
knowing there's just a little something to truth to the stories rather than completely fictionalized.
Text 833-401-1440. Northside Loose is American Hustle.
So
Triple
who's
C, Silver Lining.
Who do you like
Playbook.
more, Cooper or McConaughey?
Probably Cooper, because I don't like McConaughey when he's on the sideline in Texas. I mean,
That's
he
it,
just-
eh?
I hate
What
that.
about when Cooper is on the sideline in Philly?
Ooh.
Is he running up and down the
No,
sideline?
he's not as.
He's just there as a fan that's flexing his fame a
that
little bit
orange
to get
suit that McConaughey
to
wears.
get sideline. But like, keep in mind, it's a state it's a it's not a state university by the legal definition, but it's the University of Texas, and he held a position. I think he was a professor there.
I'm a big McConaughey
He
guy.
taught something,
Oh,
and wasn't he also like the minister of culture in the state?
I'm not too
Don't
sure.
quote me
Dude.
on that. But I know he was teaching something at UT.
Ken texts and asks Eddie what he did with the money his mom gave him for singing lessons.
Oh man, I pocketed that and I bought some Slurpees. Slurpee money.
Oh man. What's cooking today, Eddie? What do you got going?
We're gonna go down and shoot the pod,
Yeah.
Elks Nation with Deck, and then back to school today for the kids.
Oh yeah, that's right. Eh?
So yeah, my daughter has done kindergarten at 11:30.
Are they excited?
Yeah, to see the friends.
Yeah.
It's amazing, man. 2 weeks just flew by. Time seems to be going faster and
Yeah.
faster. It's amazing. So pick her up, get a workout in. I'm still on holidays for a little bit here, so just gonna be lounging around, get my workout in.
Tiger says, ask Teddy if he ever stuck chocolate bars in his Slurpees. Petty.
No, I didn't. No, I would just stick the chocolate bars in my pockets.
IMAX's dude was epic in one of the first roles. His first one, Wedding Crashers. Hey?
Yeah, Wedding Crashers.
Oh yeah, he's hilarious because he's like the fiance of the love interest, right? And then they're out there playing the touch football game and just absolutely blowing him up.
Yeah.
And then Owen Wilson's like, "Come on, you're making me look bad out here." And Vince Vaughn, he's basically unconscious.
That's a classic.
A very tertiary role in that movie, but he was excellent. Very funny.
Yeah, that's a classic one.
Well, Eddie, that was another quick 2 hours. You talk about the 2 weeks going fast. How about the 2 hours here?
Yeah, man. Time flies when
you're having fun. Now, the pod, what's going on there?
Lots to talk about. Lots of Double E news. To be honest, I got to refresh my memory because there was some news that happened and some signings last week. But there's just Brock Mogensen. That's who it was. Thanks, Duke.
Yeah.
But we consume a lot of sport, man. So sometimes it jumbles together.
So again, Brock Mogensen, that's the way he played, that resulted.
That's why Niles is gone.
That's why they traded Niles Morgan.
So a lot of people,
and Joel too, right?
Yeah, exactly. Joel and Nick Anderson is still going to remain. A lot of people who really grow familiar and fond with the player, like that of Niles, you don't realize the business behind it. And you trade Niles, and a lot of people will be like, "Why? That's a bad thing to do." But you get the asset, and then you sign Brock Mogensen and Joel DeBlanco. And you have these players younger, cheaper, and they performed last year. So
where did DeBlanco had a workout with the NFL team?
Yeah, someone out east. Was it Green Bay? I thought it was someone on the eastern seaboard.
I think it's Green Bay. Yeah.
Okay.
That was on. I'm just looking December 11th. That was when that came out. Green Bay Packers workout. Actually, it's a little later than that.
Yeah, I was gonna. I thought it was only
Green Bay Packers. Yeah, so
and that was on the 11th.
Well, that's when the workout tracker. That's the last one I have from there.
Okay,
but it was also in three down nation that just came in probably a week ago.
Yeah, I thought it was a little more familiar when I read about it. Probably via 3 down.
Yeah. All right, Eddie. Good show, big guy. Have a good podcast.
KK, you have a strong finish, man.
Well, we'll do our very best.
Well, don't miss me too much.
Hey, we'll do our very best. And that someone said something about. You had the shoulders of a salmon when you tried that jacket.
Just before Eddie leaves, I do want to make sure we get this in because Kevin, you were gone on Friday. Eddie stepped in to make your picks for you.
And?
we only made 3. Eddie made 2. I made 1. We just picked the standalone games. Eddie went 0-2.
Ooh,
you went 0-2, Eddie.
He took the Bucks to cover and he took the Ravens to cover.
Well, that's your juju. I was picking for you, man. You got that loser's juju.
But I also got my pick wrong because I took the Niners to win on Saturday night. So we're on a bit of a cold streak as a collective show here.
And I just can't let him go with the final dig. So if I have shoulders of a salmon, you have shoulders of a snake. Bye, guys.
See you, Eddie. Coming up in the 9 o'clock hour, we've got Thomas Hall from Blue Jays Nation. The Blue Jays with pretty big signing when you think about it. They signed Kazuma Okamoto to a 4-year contract. It's worth $60 million. It's a 4-year deal, $5 million signing bonus as well. So we'll discuss that with Thomas Hall. We got Scott Burnside from Burnside on Hockey, and then Brian Diardo from CBS Sports covers the NFL. Before all that, time now for a Sports 1440 update brought to you by First Round, and Sunday's got even better at First Round. You could win an NFL helmet or a jersey, and you can enjoy the Pro Bowl brunch only at Edmonton's NFL headquarters. That's First Round, downtown or on Bourbon Street. Here is the Duke.
This is a Sports 1440 update.
Team Canada falling at the World Junior Championships 6-4 to Czechia, failing to advance to the gold medal game for a 3rd straight year. Zane Prick, Tidjagin and Sam O'Reilly were named Canada's top players for the tournament. They'll play for bronze today at 2:30. Their opponent in that game will be Finland, who lost to Sweden in the other semifinal via shootout 4-3. And there's a handful of games across the NHL yesterday. Montreal beating Dallas 4-3 in overtime. Colorado catching just their 3rd regulation loss of the season, 2-1 to the Panthers. Pittsburgh topped the Jackets 5-4 in OT. Vegas lost to the Hawks 3-2 also in OT. And Carolina beats Jersey 3-1. The Oil Kings rattled off a 5th straight win last night at Rogers Place 5-3 over Seattle. And in the PWHL, Montreal winners over Minnesota 3-2 in overtime. Final day of the NFL's regular season with a few games of consequence. Atlanta beat the Saints 19-17 to lock the Panthers in as NFC South champions. Cleveland got past Cincy 20-18. Myles Garrett recording a sack in the win to set the new single-season record with 23. Denver secures the AFC's top seed with a 19-3 win over the Chargers, and a missed field goal to end the game sends Pittsburgh to the playoffs as AFC North champs. They win over division rival Baltimore 26-24. It's Black Monday across the NFL. Heads have started rolling last night. The Falcons fired head coach Raheem Morris and general manager Terry Fontenot, and this morning Cleveland has let go head coach Kevin Stefanski. The Bengals announcing that head coach Zach Taylor and GM Duke Tobin will both be retained. On the hardwood, 8 games total, including Detroit over Cleveland 114-110. The Thunder lose in Phoenix 108-105. And the Lakers have 3 players put up 26+, including Luka Doncic's 36. The Lakers beat Memphis 120-114. Coming up in hour 3 of the Kevin Karius Show, we'll be joined by Thomas Hall from Blue Jays Nation. I'm Brandon Douglas at your Sports 1440 update.
This is Sports 1440, a Stingray radio station broadcasting on Treaty 6 territory.
Download the free iHeartRadio app and listen to CKJR wherever you go.
Hi, Mike here from Northgate Chevrolet Buick GMC. It's not lost on me that this radio ad competes with a lot of other dealerships on the air. So what sets us apart? Honesty. At Northgate, we believe in giving you the very best price we can with the most value possible. We aren't giving away free trips or paying off your credit cards, but it is my promise you will get exactly what you paid for every time. Stop in and see us today, 13215 97th Street, or visit us online at northgategm.com.
Legacy Heating and Cooling sucks. Yeah, Legacy can now suck your ducts with professional duct cleaning, furnace cleaning, and dryer vent cleaning.
Call Legacy. Call Legacy.
When you need the filth sucked from your air ducts.
Call Legacy. Call Legacy.
When you want cleaner air for your family.
Call Legacy. Call Legacy.
Legacy now offers air duct cleaning. Book in today. Just call Legacy.
Planning your next event? Let Loca Quality Market cater. From made-to-order meals to gourmet platters to full chef tasting experiences, they make entertaining effortless. Visit loca.ca to start planning today.
Exciting news from St. Albert Dodge. The all-new 2026 Jeep Gladiator Sport packages have arrived. They have a great selection and a bunch of colors to choose from. And if you've checked out the Sport, you know it comes in some fun colors. Rugged capability, practical off-road features, and you can get behind the wheel for as low as $49,900. That's right. Put yourself in a brand new Jeep Gladiator Sport for less than $50,000. What more can you ask for? Time to head up the trail and see how easy it is to do business at St. Albert Dodge.
From the first face-off to the final whistle, Sports 1440 is your home for hockey talk. With live coverage, expert analysis, and pre- and post-game shows, we bring you closer to the game. Tune in 24/7, only on Sports 1440, Edmonton's sports station.
Get ready.
We're going to make you an offer you can't refuse.
Shoresy's back, and it's only on Crave.
We need total buy-in from every guy in this room.
The Smash Hit Series returns for a brand new season.
We're going to be playing the EU All-Stars.
Shoresy is facing his toughest competition yet.
This EU team is spectacular.
They are not scared of them.
Hear that, Shorzy?
Let's make sure they never forget who we are.
Shoresy, new season, stream now, only on Crave. Subscribe at crave.ca.
Winter in Alberta doesn't mess around.
And neither does Titan Supply.
For over 50 years, we've earned the trust of our customers across a variety of industries.
Because we lead with integrity,
honesty,
and respect.
I'm Joe.
And I'm Brent from Titan Supply. When the weather hits hard,
we're fully stocked with rigging, lifting, and hauling gear that works as hard as you do.
Titan Supply.
Built on trust, driven by safety.
Serving Edmonton, Grand Prairie, Red Deer, and Calgary.
Let us help you face the weather the Titan way.
Visit titansupply.ca.
Have your sports curiosity cured with the Kevin Karius Show. This is Sports 1440.
All right, welcome back to the big program, 9:08 in Edmonton. Just watching the highlights again of Canada and the Czechs last night, 6-4 the final. That last goal that was scored, you got Misa and Brunic out on the ice, basically in the crease. And these are your two NHL guys, and they didn't handle that play quite well. Duke, how's that sound? Mark texts in 833-401-1440. Now, I don't remember this, something earlier in the tournament. Hey, Kevin, Happy New Year. I think we saw last night the karma for Canada, the way they behaved in the first game. So I think he's talking about the little pat, that Porter Martone thing on the backside. But then he says, Dale Hunter allowed players to do stunts and warm-ups. Now, was this way earlier in the tournament, Duke? What am I missing here? Was there something that happened?
I'm really not sure. And if there was something like cards on the table, like I watch the games, I watch the games. So because there's always something else on, right? So I'm not tuning in to watch the pregame show of the TSN panel. It's not against them. I think they do great coverage. But like I'm usually watching something else. Oh, hockey game's at 6:30. I flip over. Right. And then during the intermissions, I either flip back to something else or I mute the TV. So whatever else I'm watching on my second screen can get a little extra attention, football game, whatever, right? Oilers game some of the time over the past couple weeks. So that with that being, so I'm not sure what the texter is referring to. Like I said, I obviously caught wind of the Martone thing, but that is, and then obviously Canada not forgetting to shake hands after that was the same game. So outside of that, I'm a little in the dark here. I might have to do some digging to see what it's about.
Nick texts in the leadership of Hockey Canada needs to be removed, addressed. Catherine Henderson is an expert in curling, not hockey. Canada has been losing a lot lately. Our women's team is getting destroyed by the USA. We have been set up by Latvia. Canada was upset by Denmark at last year's Worlds. Denmark only had one NHL player. This is something that's been discussed a fair bit here with the leadership group at the highest levels with Hockey Canada. Now, everyone knows what happened, 5 years ago, and basically everyone was removed or quit. There was a lot of guys that just left the organization, all, with the fallout of the Hockey Canada and the World Junior team. So I don't think Nick's going to get a lot of pushback here about who's at the helm and who runs this organization. But we have seen that Canada, and again, all the other countries are catching up, man. They are catching up, and again, you look at it, the team, the Czech iced, and how good they were, and how good they are, and they have a legitimate shot to win the gold medal tonight against Sweden. The other thing too, Duke, I was going to say, I wish they would have one more day in between here, like just have the game on Tuesday night. If you're going to have the semifinals,
yeah,
on
like
Sunday,
you stretch the tournament out. It's so long already. What is one more day?
Yeah.
And it's like I said, it's not like you're teeing up a gold medal game for Saturday night. It's Monday.
Yeah.
Right. So I'm right there with you. We want to see these teams at their best.
Give them that day off.
But you have to assume that at this point, whoever played yesterday is the team's number one goalie. They're going to be asked to go again today. And the age-old debate of, well, how hard is it to play 2 games in a row? Yeah, they played quite a bit of hockey in the last 10, 13 days, right? So I do think that between the goaltending and, you want to see the teams at their best. Give them an extra day off to collect themselves. The emotions is a big part of it because they are just kids. I'm right there with you, Kev, for sure.
Mike says the Canadian players were crossing the center line during warm-ups earlier in the round robin. MTR comes in, and it's fair. To be completely fair to Canada, our top players were never there. They had Schaefer and Celebrini. It's a cakewalk.
Yeah, but that is, and I get it. It's become more of an issue in the last 15 years where we see the 18-year-olds making the jump to the NHL more frequently. But like Macklin Celebrini was a number one, Matt and Schaefer. They were number one overall picks. Number one overall pick Canadians have essentially been going straight to the NHL for 20 plus years, right? So this isn't a new phenomenon. It gets a little dicier because you talk about Schaefer, Celebrini, Beckett, Seneca, and Anaheim. The fact the Sharks didn't loan Sam Dickinson, I was quite surprised that we talked about that before the tournament. And I like when you look at his blue line, I think he would have been a huge difference maker for them. So
who do you think would have been out then? Would Verhoff or Carl's?
Yeah, I think it probably would have been one of the 18-year-olds or 17-year-olds, excuse me.
Rich texts in 833-401-1440. They should start this tournament earlier, maybe Christmas Eve. They should be playing on January 1. That's the only day that they take off, January 1st. And I think because of the bowl games, and for the first time, the NHL gave their head a shake and was like, why are we trying to go up against college football on January 1? Let's just play it the next day. Who cares? And I watched the Winter Classic on Friday. It was cool. Yeah. How was the ice, you think? Well, we talked about it so much, and I talked about it with David Dwork on Friday. Kev, we had him on, a regular contributor, and he actually got a chance to go skate on it himself with a bunch of media and stuff a couple days prior. He said he thought it was fine, but he's like, listen, I'm a beer league player. Maybe my understanding is not as good, but the players didn't seem to say much about it on the practice the day beforehand. But then I think it was day of, maybe Will Cooley was asked about it. He said it was terrible. So I don't know. It looked like it was a good event top to bottom. The game was entertaining, a little one-sided, obviously, but the intros were good. Dwork said that all the festivities in and around the stadium in the lead up to it were excellent. So by all accounts, it was another rousing success for the NHL. Yeah. Ontario Hockey League announcing that former commissioner David Branch passed away this morning, or yesterday maybe. Sunday at the age of 77. He was a commissioner of the Ontario Hockey League from 1979 to 2024, 45 years. I mean, synonymous with hockey in Ontario. So 77 years old, David Branch passes away. When we come back, we will check in with Thomas Hall from Blue Jays Nation, discuss the Blue Jays' recent signings, maybe where Bo Bichette is. And again, Kazuma Okamoto just inks a 4-year, $60 million deal. That's coming up right after the break. Kevin Karius, Duke of Delburne, Josh Fenwick on Sports 1440 AM radio. We're streaming on YouTube, X, Facebook, Instagram, and Twitch.
The job won't wait. Why should you? At AWS Welding Supplies and Repairs, conveniently located in Nisku, we've got everything you need to get it done. From product sales to servicing and calibrating machines, we're your one-stop shop. We're a proud, locally owned and operated business, committed to serving our community with a proven track record of customer service. Don't let a broken tool slow you down. We offer fast repairs and free same-day delivery of in-stock items to Leduc, Nisku, and South Edmonton. AWS Welding. We make it happen.
Remember 2025? That's so last year. But seriously, St. Albert Dodge needs to clear some 2025 models off the lot to make room for new inventory. So they're having a huge clear out of all the remaining new 2025 Jeep Wrangler Saharas. The Sahara package is the best seller, so they have a great selection to choose from and priced from as low as $59.9. I don't have to tell you, these are going to go fast. So get there before they are gone. Just head up the trail and see how easy it is to do business at St. Albert Dodge.
This hockey season, before every game, check out the pregame show with Andrew Walker on Sports 1440. It's brought to you by Titan Supply, your only source for rigging, lifting, and hauling products. Visit titansupply.ca.
Come for Canada's largest trade shows, the biggest names in entertainment, exhilarating sporting events, and more. And stay for the experience at the Edmonton Expo Centre. Looking for the perfect place to host your next big event? From trade shows to galas, meetings, and concerts, the Edmonton Expo Centre has the space, event expertise, and service to make your next event unforgettable. With over 522,000 square feet of flexible event space, in-house catering, and operational expertise, they bring your biggest vision to life. Learn more at EdmontonExpoCenter.com today.
At Fountain Tire, success is a team effort. They're committed to their team members and their customers. And that means treating your vehicle like it's their own and finding solutions that suit your needs. Because whatever the road brings ahead, they're on it with you. Visit FountainTire.com today.
Across rural Alberta, volunteers and community groups work hard to make life better for their neighbors, creating new playgrounds, better rinks, and gathering places that bring us together. Vision Credit Union is proud to lend these local heroes a helping hand. Apply today for a Helping Hand grant up to $10,000 to support your community's next big idea. Let's make great things happen together. Applications are open until January 31st, 2026. Learn more at whatsyourshare.ca.
Diablo Boots sells only Canadian-made work and biker boots made by Canada West. No American or boots made in China, so no tariffs. All of Diablo's boots have replaceable soles and heels for longer life. Sizes 6 to 14 EEE. Buy quality, buy Canadian. And support Canada West and Diablo, the two best names in the boot business. So save on boots by Save On Foods. That's Diablo Boots, 3340 Gateway Boulevard on the east side of Save On Foods. Buy Canadian. They're terrific.
I'm Rick Showers from No Bull RV. This is the time of year people make their New Year's resolutions. If they're lucky, they'll keep that up till February. So I propose another resolution. This year, resolve to be camp ready. Now, what do I mean by that? At No Bull RV, camp ready means never wondering if your RV will be ready for May long weekend. You know it'll be ready because you made the decision back in the winter. You know, now.
Is Camp Ready something I can get from No Bull RV?
That's right, Bob. Camp Ready is our 12-month RV maintenance plan. It includes winterization in the fall, startup in the spring, roof assessments every year, and all your scheduled maintenance. So when you want to get to the great outdoors, you already know you're Camp Ready.
How do I get to be Camp Ready, Rick?
We're starting small, Bob. Just 100 Camp Ready plans are available at No Bull right now.
And that's No Bull.
NoBullRV.ca.
Stories, guests, and insights. This is Sports 1440 and the Kevin Karius Show.
All right, welcome back to the big program, 920 in Edmonton. Kevin Karius, Duke of Delburne, Josh Fenwick with you on Sports 1440 AM radio. We're streaming on YouTube, X, Facebook, Instagram, and Twitch. Time to talk a little Blue Jays baseball with Thomas Hall from Blue Jays Nation. Morning, Thomas. You're with Kevin Karius. Once again, thanks for jumping on Sports 1440 this morning. Really appreciate it, big guy.
Of course. Always a pleasure to hop back on with you and talk some Jays.
Yeah, for sure. Jays made some news over the weekend with the signing of Japanese slugger Kazuma Okamoto. What can you tell us about this infielder? More of a third baseman, but he's got some pop in the bat too.
Yeah, it was definitely a surprising move from the Blue Jays, but this entire offseason has been filled with surprising moves for this front office. So, I can't say that I was too blown away by this move, but certainly, a nice change of pace for this front office to continue to operate as aggressive as they've been all winter. And with Okamoto, yeah, he's somebody that is probably going to play mostly at third base, but the bat is the big deal here. This is somebody that, when you look at his profile, he beautifully exhibits a lot of the traits that the Blue Jays were built on last season. He's somebody that has elite plate discipline, somebody who's going to work a lot of deep counts, be a really tough at bat. Somebody who hasn't posted a strikeout rate above 20% in 7 of his 8 seasons in Japan, and had a double-digit walk rate in 5 of those 8 seasons. And he's also somebody who will bring some middle-of-the-order pop to this lineup. And with no Bo Bichette or somebody like Kyle Tucker or even an Alex Bregman or a Cody Bellinger, adding some of that power to this lineup is something the Blue Jays needed to accomplish this winter. And even if Okamoto largely is positioned in the bottom half of the Blue Jays lineup, he's somebody that is going to add some 20 to 30 home run power and be able to give them a little bit more pop against left-handed pitching specifically too.
Any concern, Thomas, that he only played 69 games last year, had a left elbow injury?
Not necessarily. No, it was more of a fluke injury that caused that absence, where it was a collision with another fielder on a pop fly ball that he was tracking while playing first base. So I don't think I would have any concerns there. He's somebody that has been very durable throughout his career, and it definitely will be a big change for him to shift from playing mostly first base, which is a role he previously occupied in Japan, to now primarily playing third base. Defensively, he's definitely better suited at first, but for what you're going to get from his bat, you can probably sacrifice a little bit of defense to get some more offense.
Do you think he spells off, Vladimir Guerrero Jr. here and there, just to give maybe Vladdy some time at DH and he can go into first base there?
Yeah, I could see that too during Vladdy's rest days. He also has a bit of experience in left field too. We know how much the Blue Jays love using versatility guys in their infield too. So, it may only be a handful of games, but I could see the Blue Jays putting him out in left field, trying that out as well, just to really try and maximize all the players they have, right? Because they also have Addison Barger and Ernie Clement that they could put at third base too.
Yeah. Thomas Hall with us on the Kevin Carey Show on Sports 1440. So, the bigger question now, is they still going big game hunting with a guy like even Kyle Tucker? There's been some whispers there. But what about Bo Bichette as well here?
Yeah, I think this signing of Okamoto doesn't necessarily take them out of those races, but it does raise the ante, I think, in this, multi-million-dollar game of chicken that they're playing with both of those players. And as to a lesser extent with Bregman and Bellinger too. I do think the Okamoto signing probably makes a Bregman acquisition far less likely, just because they kind of play the same positions. But I do see that the Blue Jays still have money to spend, and I expect them to remain in the mix. But this is now an even more intense of a waiting game for the Blue Jays here, because I think, prior to this signing, they really cornered the markets for both Tucker and Bichette in terms of being the only team that really makes sense to give either of those players a long-term deal. And now that they have Okamoto in their lineup, they are guaranteed to have an offensive upgrade for next season. And so, when they're playing this game of chicken, they don't have to necessarily cave to Tucker or Bichette's demands. They can really wait out these markets and hope that the prices drop a little bit and things can align perfectly so that they can continue to add to this lineup, because it's already been a great offseason for the Blue Jays, easily an A+. But if you, on top of bringing in Okamoto, bring in somebody like Tucker or Bichette, that immediately turns it into an A++ offseason.
When you look at the bigger signings that they've done already, it starts with the pitching. And to pick up a guy like Dylan Cease, if he can get back to where he was, and even, Cody Ponce, what do you make of those two, additions when it comes to the starting rotation, Thomas?
Yeah, it definitely raises the ceiling of this rotation, and it adds a lot of swing and miss to this rotation as well. And that's something at times the Blue Jays were missing last season, and to add a guy like Dylan Cease, who at his peak is a top of the rotation arm, somebody that now, if the Blue Jays can get him to be a consistent ace year in and year out, you now are talking about a front of the line core piece that you can pair next to Trey Savage for, through the rest of this decade. And with Kevin Gausman and Shane Bieber, free agents after this season, Eric Lauer as well, you now have two core foundation pieces that you can build around in Cease and Savage, and somebody like Cody Ponce too. Like he's going to bring over more swing and miss, somebody that also brings versatility with him as well, somebody that has experience coming out of the bullpen too, which, with Jose Barrios still in the mix as well with this rotation, that's somebody that, depending how things play out in spring training, you could throw Cody Ponce into the bullpen to start the season and have him be your insurance guy if an injury happens throughout spring or early in the season, and you could move him back to the rotation. Or if Cody Ponce has a phenomenal spring and he becomes your fifth starter, that instantly becomes one of the deepest rotations in all of baseball.
Any concern for you, Thomas, regarding Shane Bieber and maybe some arm issues moving into next season?
Yeah, I think that's the value of now being 6-7 starters deep. Because the key here with Bieber, a guy coming off Tommy John surgery, and as deep as he had to pitch into the playoffs last year, it's certainly a question mark of whether or not he's going to be ready come opening day. If the Blue Jays need to give him a few more weeks to build up and prepare for the marathon of a 162-game season, then I don't think that's a big deal. I think you have the depth to be able to cover that absence. And as well, too, like if Trey Savage has to have his workload managed as well, that's the benefit of still holding on to somebody like Jose Barrios and having Eric Lauer there as depth too. Like, I think the great thing that the Blue Jays have been able to do this winter is really reinforce the amount of depth that they have at their major league roster, both in the starting rotation and in the bullpen. You look at the addition of Tyler Rogers as well and how deep that makes their bullpen. Like right now, there's a situation where both Mason Fluharty and Braden Fisher start the year at AAA Buffalo. Like that's how much depth they have right now.
From our text line, 833-401-1440, Scuff Darren, I think I know where he stands on Brendan Little here with the way he's phrasing it. Can you ask Thomas if the Jays are bringing Brendan Little back? And if so, why?
Well, I mean, as inconsistent as he was throughout the year, he's somebody that still has club control left. And during the regular season, like we saw how good Brendan Little was for this Blue Jays bullpen. He was right up there as one of the top high leverage options that John Schneider and the coaching staff was able to turn to. But it is a little bit of a roller coaster experience with Brendan Little, right? Like the highs are somebody who creates a ton of swing and miss, a lot of chase with that knuckle curveball, but when he's at his lowest, he's struggling to find the strike zone. He's walking a lot of guys, giving up home runs. And, I think that's, that roller coaster experience is going to be less impactful next season if you have a bullpen that includes a healthy Jimmy Garcia, Tyler Rogers, Louis Varland. That pushes Brendan Little further down the totem pole. And if Mason Fluharty is a part of the bullpen too, you have another lefty that you can trust in high leverage situations, which takes a lot of pressure off of Brendan Little, who for most of last season operated as the primary lefty out of the bullpen. So I think he's got great stuff. But if you're able to give somebody like that more support, and you could have a similar conversation about Jeff Hoffman as well. If you give those guys more support and take a lot of the load off of their shoulders, they're going to tend to be more effective throughout next season.
Do you think Louis Varland can close some games out? Do you think he gets thrown into that role at all here, Thomas?
I would like to see him in that spot. Yeah, I think, hearing Ross Atkins speak earlier this offseason about, being open about the possibility of adding a closer to this team. Obviously, that hasn't happened yet, but I think that at least shows you that the Blue Jays are considering all their options with the closer role. And John Schneider trusts his guys more than any other manager in baseball. So I do expect Jeff Hoffman to return to that closer's role if the Blue Jays don't make a significant addition at the back end of their bullpen here. But I could see Jimmy Garcia, Tyler Rogers, even Louis Varland get some save opportunities in 2026, because again, this is going to be all about taking pressure off of guys like Jeff Hoffman, who worked a ton of innings last season, especially in the postseason. And, for this franchise that is looking to return to the World Series, you're going to want to keep those guys as fresh as possible for that stretch run. And to do that, you're going to need more help in the ninth inning next year.
Yeah. Thomas Hall from Blue Jays Nation, our guest on the Kevin Karius Show on Sports 1440. What do you make of Anthony Santander here? Really non-existent last year, was batting, well below the Mendoza line. Where's the fit for him? Can he rebound to the guy that they thought that they were going to try to get as far as, a pretty good pop in the bat from Baltimore? Or is his time done? What do you think about Santander?
No, I do expect him to return to the Blue Jays next season. Honestly, I think he's one of the biggest X factors for this offseason just because of how much power potential he has. Like, as bad as 2025 was, between the injuries, between the poor performance before he got injured, he's still somebody that hit 44 home runs and drove in 102 RBIs in 2024 with the Orioles. Like, that is certainly the ceiling here with Anthony Santander. And there is going to be a bit of a regression at play here with this Blue Jays lineup. Like, I don't expect George Springer to be a top 3 hitter in all of baseball next season. That would be great if it happens, but for somebody who's 36 years old, you're going to have to expect some level of negative regression with him. And, same with guys like Nathan Lucas and Ernie Clement. Like, they're probably not going to have the same years that they had last season. So that's where somebody like Anthony Santander can help even things out in that equation. And, in terms of where he fits, I would expect him to be somebody that bounces around between left field, right field, splits some time at DH with George Springer, because I'm sure the Blue Jays would like to give him some reps, even if they're sparingly at times in the outfield, just to keep his legs a little bit fresher. So these days, a lot of teams don't like to primarily occupy their DH spot with just one guy. So I would expect Springer and Santander to swap out of that DH spot at times. But as this lineup is currently constructed too, they're counting on Anthony Santander to bounce back and be that middle of the order presence to give Vladimir Guerrero some more protection in that middle of the order. And if you're able to insert somebody like Tucker Bichette along with that mix too, that makes the lineup even more potent.
Alejandro Kirk had a hell of a season last year with the 15 dingers and was flirting with 300 for most of the season, dropped off at the end of the season. What do you think he can do for maybe an encore for next season?
Yeah, I mean, anything like he had in 2025 would be fantastic for the Blue Jays. Like, he was nearly a 5-win catcher over 130 games for this team. And again, he's somebody that you could very easily see a little bit of regression at play for Alejandro Kirk, just with as much as he played last season. Like, in the regular season alone, he posted career highs in games played and innings caught behind the plate. And it was really his first season as that undisputed number 1 catcher for the Blue Jays, with no Danny Jansen around to help split that time at the catcher position. And Kirk did a great job at that. Completely blew away all expectations that anyone had for him, both offensively and defensively, as one of the game's top all-around catchers. And I think for somebody who plays as much as he does, anything you get from him offensively, I think, is a bonus. And so if he can even just be a league average player at the plate, the elite defense that he brings you completely offsets any of that, any of the shortcomings that he might have at the plate.
What's the overall feeling, Thomas, as we get, we're like a little over a month for pitchers and catchers to report here, but what's the overall feeling for, just the franchise moving forward here because of the success they had last year and so close to winning it all? Is it a different feeling maybe that you've experienced this offseason compared to a few off seasons past?
Oh, for sure. Right. I mean, you look back at the last couple of off seasons and, the narrative around this franchise has been underwhelming, disappointing. Right. And, you go into an off season that, you're looking to be really aggressive and build off of your first World Series appearance in over 3 decades. And that's exactly what the Blue Jays have done with all their moves this offseason. But at the same time, it raises the bar significantly for what the expectations will be next season, right? Like, this is now a franchise that is expected to continuously compete for a World Series title with how much money they've invested into this roster. They've now surpassed the $300 million threshold for next season's payroll. So, with that comes, incredibly high expectations. And so this is now World Series or bust for the Blue Jays. And, getting into the playoffs as a wild card team is no longer sufficient for this franchise. It's routinely competing for the AL East, and we all know how tough that is year in and year out, and being inside one of the toughest divisions in all of baseball. But the Blue Jays are also the new sheriff in town, as they've shown, right? The Yankees aren't spending the way they have in previous years. Same with the Red Sox. The Orioles are expected to bounce back next season, but the Blue Jays are far and away the favorite to not only repeat as the best team in the AL East, but they're expected to defend their crown as the American League champs next year as well.
Yeah. Well, we'll see what Baltimore's pitching staff can do, because they had a lot of injuries last year. And if they can get their pitching staff straightened out, Baltimore's got enough bats in the lineup to really challenge for the division title. So as always, Thomas, really appreciate it. Your time. Thanks for coming on, and we'll chat soon. Again, it's like a month and 37 days until pitchers and catchers report. Here we go.
It's coming up close, so I look forward to it.
Yeah, good stuff. That's Thomas Hall, Blue Jays Nation. The Toronto Blue Jays, again, with the big signing. They've had several big signings, Dylan Cease and Ponce. And, when they come into this season, and Thomas has said it, like the wild card is really Anthony Santander. Can he contribute? I mean, he had nothing last year. Zip. Addison Barger's on the precipice of turning into a legitimate superstar in this league. His batting average could be raised a few points, but he had 21 home runs last year. Can he take it to another level? Can he repeat what he did last year? Still a relatively young player at 26 years of age. Hey, when we come back, we'll get to some of your texts, 833-401-1440. It's Kevin Karius Show with the Duke of Delburne and Josh Fenwick on Sports 1440 AM radio. We're also streaming on YouTube, X, Facebook, Instagram, and Twitch.
Did you know The Brick is proudly Canadian-owned and operated? We started right here in Canada over 50 years ago. Now, our 5,000 team members are proud to be your neighbor in more than 200 communities across Canada. And we support all Canadians with a growing selection of quality-made Canadian products and manufacturers. Nobody knows more about furnishing Canadian homes at the guaranteed lowest price than us. The Brick, saving you more.
Visit thebrick.com and use our store locator to find a brick store near you.
At Fountain Tire, success is a team effort. They're committed to their team members and their customers. And that means treating your vehicle like it's their own and finding solutions that suit your needs. Because whatever the road brings ahead, they're on it with you. Visit fountaintire.com today.
Edmonton's go-to station for all things sports is Sports 1440.
From Low Tide to Kevin Karius and Jason Greger, we deliver the latest on your favorite teams.
Tune in 24 hours a day, 7 days a week
to Sports 1440.
Mr. Rooter goes skiing. Sick gear, Mr. Rooter. Are you ready to hit the slopes?
Not yet. I need to report a possible crime.
Oh no, what's happening?
I saw a bunch of hooligans discussing shredding the half pipe. As a plumber, I've taken the Hippocratic Oath to do no harm and act in the best interests of all pipes, whether PVC, copper, or otherwise.
It's made of snow, Mr. Rooter.
Snow? Things are worse than I had feared.
There's no better plumber than Mr. Rooter.
River Cree is the place for all your favorite sports. River Cree Resort and Casino, featuring UFC action and boxing live on the big screens at Tap 25, the MVP of sports bars, and in the Center Bar. Plus, catch this fall's biggest games. Every goal, every tackle, every home run. River Cree is also home to the Twin Rinks, where rec hockey and community teams come to play. Public skating available. Details at rivercreeresort.com.
River Cree Resort and Casino. Excitement. Bet on it.
Welcome to Uncommon. Welcome to Subaru. Engineered for Canadian winters, built for real-life confidence. Tackle the ice and snow with Subaru's symmetrical all-wheel drive, delivering the power, control, stability, and grit you need. And when the temperature plummets, you'll cruise in comfort with heated seats and heated steering wheel. All this plus peace of mind with Subaru's top safety pick status for 19 years running. This winter, it's time to get you into a Subaru. Visit Subaru.ca today.
Just in time for the morning skate. This is the Kevin Karius Show on Sports 1440.
All right, welcome back to the big program, 942 in Edmonton. Kevin Karius, Duke of Delburne. Josh Fenwick with you on a Monday morning. Weird to say 2026, but that's where we are. Hope you have a prosperous 2026. It's not going to be that way for Pete Carroll. The Vegas Raiders have fired head coach Pete Carroll, according to Adam Schefter. Signed a 3-year deal a year ago. Finished this season with the NFL's worst record. If you go back 5 years, John Gruden resigned in 2021 as head coach. Josh McDaniels was hired in 2022. Then he was let go in 2023. 1 year after that, Antonio Pierce was hired. Then he got canned in 2025. Pete Carroll was hired a year ago. And today he gets fired. That is a coaching carousel for the Vegas Raiders. Well, Duke, you mentioned the New York Giants for Kevin Stefanski. Maybe Kevin Stefanski surfaces in Vegas. Would you say that that is a potential landing spot for him? Tom Brady and I think the GM, they're going to be conducting the search.
Okay.
It is Brady and John Spytek, GM. I don't know if is there any connection between Brady and
not
Stefanski?
that I'm aware of. Now, listen, potential, sure. I think any team with the head coaching vacancy should be giving Kevin Stefanski a call.
Mm-hmm.
Right? This is a guy that under the restraints of being the Cleveland Browns, and that in itself is a restraint, just, being that organization, that franchise,
Mm-hmm.
went to the playoffs, got off this huge, long trend of just getting bullied by your in-division opponents, particularly the Steelers, right? Like Ben Roethlisberger had more wins at the Browns stadium than any Browns quarterback in the team's history. All these things, right? Like, wins a playoff game, right, with Baker Mayfield.
Mm-hmm.
And I'll be honest, Kev, the Baker Mayfield connection and the success Stefanski had with him is the main reason I circle the Giants as a potential landing spot, because I think Jackson Dart and Baker Mayfield have a lot of comparables.
How much did ownership, you think, sewer this franchise with Deshaun Watson?
Well,
it's as bad as it gets.
It set them back. How many years has that trade been? 3-4 years. And for the foreseeable future, because of the draft capital they gave up in the trade, the financial restrictions they face because of the contract, and honestly, when you look forward, there's a good chance he's the team's starting quarterback next season. Because say what you will about how Shedeur Sanders played, I thought he was okay. He showed flashes, but I didn't see enough to absolutely be like, yeah, this is going to be our starter going into next season.
Mm-hmm.
Maybe he'll have a chance to compete with Deshaun Watson for the job come August. But it's interesting you bring that up, Kevin, because the ownership basically said Stefanski gets a free pass.
They did, yes.
Because they admitted that it was a mistake. The deal, the extension, the money, it handcuffed the team to an extent that they were so limited in ability to improve the roster elsewhere.
Mm-hmm.
And as a result, they say, we know Kevin Stefanski is a good coach. We're not ready to move on from him despite the losing because it's not his fault. He's doing what he can. Here we are, end of this season, Black Monday. He's looking for a new job.
It'll be interesting. It'll be a question for Brian Diardo from CBS and get his thoughts on where he thinks that Stefanski will surface. Would you say I would think that he is, out of all the coaches that got fired, he's the first to surface?
Oh, without a doubt so far. Like, I think Pete Carroll is done.
Yeah.
He should be done. And the fact that he does actually get fired and rather than having to quit, which I think was very much on the table as well, that means he will get to collect the remainder of the paycheck from this
2 more years.
2 more years, right? He's had a life in the game. He has won everything there is to win.
What is he, 73?
He is the oldest coach in the league this past year. I think I had this conversation with Connor Halley going back to when we were really breaking down just how poor the Raiders are, how terrible of a season this has been.
Do you think also that, I mean, he basically said to Max Crosby, we don't want you to play the last 2 games. So do you think...
Is that him or is that
you think that's
management and above protecting an asset?
Probably management. But
I would think so.
But do you think that, I mean, you can also fight for your guy too?
Not if you know that you're done in another week anyway. What's the point?
I don't know if he felt he was going to get canned here, though. Just because he's got...
Like, I think in his mind, he was like, if they don't fire me, I'm going to quit.
Really?
I do. Because, like, what is the future? He's the oldest coach in the league. There is no quick turnaround for this Vegas roster. And I think Pete Carroll looked at it, was like, all right, even if I quit and I don't get this extra money, right, which I doubt he needs, just a guess, based on how long he's been coaching at the top level, the biggest schools in the States, the Super Bowl champion in the NFL. I'm sure he's been well compensated. He, to me, comes across as a guy, he's affable, he's likable. He can go sit down on any panel, on any network, and all of a sudden collect himself a pretty good paycheck for working 1 day a week.
Walter texts in 833-401-1440. Be assured that whatever the Browns and Raiders do, it will fail.
It will be incorrect.
What is the worst franchise? Is it Cleveland or Vegas? Is it Cleveland?
I still think it's Cleveland. I do.
And if you were to rank, okay, well, so if these are 1 and 2, who's 3? Is it the Giants?
I think the Jets would be ahead of the Giants. I do. I think they'd be very close to each other. I think the Bengals are right there. Like, the only redeeming quality that the Bengals have is that they got Joe Burrow, right? Like, they finished last in a year where it was surefire, no doubt, no questions asked. These other teams can't say that. And the Giants in particular, you're talking about dysfunction. They've played themselves out of the top pick 2 years consecutive, where I think it was entering week 17 each of the last 2 seasons. They were tracking to be the first overall pick. Last year they picked 3rd. This year they're going to pick 5th.
So if you go, okay, Cleveland's the worst run franchise. The Raiders are number 2. The Jets are number 3. The Giants have to be 4.
Sure.
I don't even know who's next after that. Could be Arizona, the way things go there.
Yeah, that's a fair point.
I mean, the way that they lost that game against Tennessee, right? That was the one where they were up.
Yeah.
Yeah. You know, I mean, that was the end of the season for them. They lost 9 in a row to close things out here.
Yeah.
Cardinals. So
and listen, I'm a Texans fan. You don't need to rewind very far for the Texans to be kind of in this conversation of that they'd had a little more success for sure, but that was sometimes the benefit of the division they played in. And like the year before they drafted C.J. Stroud and Will Anderson Jr., right, they were a last place team. They only didn't get last because of a Hail Mary play on a year where, once again, the coach knew he was going to be fired in Lovie Smith. The quarterback knew he wasn't going to be back as the starter. Still there at the team, funny enough, in Davis Mills. And they win the game on a Hail Mary to pick 2nd.
Yeah.
As a Texans fan, at that point, I said, this is the best possible thing that could have happened because it means they don't have to make the choice about who to pick. Right? Let the Panthers, in that case, when the trade they made, they will pick. You just take whoever's left because the decisions that they made as an organization were almost always the wrong ones.
Yeah.
Take that power out of their hands. And I have to think that to a certain extent, the Raiders are sweating that a little bit right now because they haven't made very many good choices either, outside of maybe drafting Brock Bowers.
Dylan texts in, the only reason the Bengals are relevant is Burrow and Chase. Their management and ownership is terrible.
I agree.
That's where the Duke chimed in talking about Cincinnati. Oliver Steve says the Cardinals are a bad franchise. Yeah, we threw them in. MTR Raiders are screwed. In that division, they won't be able to compete for 5 years. Cat Dead says the New York Jets, worst run. So conversely then, Duke, who do you think would be the best run franchise? I mean, think about, and think about the turnaround. I'm not saying that they're the best run franchise. Think about the turnaround that the Jacksonville Jaguars had from a year ago to where they are.
The Jags have a lot of support from ownership, right? The Cons, they've shown like they've never been a cheap team.
Yeah,
that they spend in free agency. Their issue has more so been the people they have making football decisions haven't always been the right people, right? Now it seems like they maybe got some of that sorted out.
With Cohen, right?
Yeah, well, the head coach for sure.
I mean, you could think about Denver, and everyone thought that they were going to be in the sewer because of
the dead cap money from Russell Wilson, right?
And how much have they rebounded here quickly? Because people thought this is going to take a long time.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, and I think like if you look around the rest of the league, I think a team like the Eagles, a team like the Chiefs, we're talking about ownership that supports them, but doesn't do like look at the common thread of all those teams we just listed out. A lot of them have owners that want to be football guys. The Carolina Panthers, you can put them in the same stretch. They made the playoffs this year as a sub 500 team. Good for them. But their owner is David Tepper's very hands-on. And that usually does not equal success.
Yeah. Maybe Seattle can be, if they get to the Super Bowl, they have to be in this conversation.
For sure they are. The Patriots, I get it, the Mike Tomlin discussion and stuff. the Steelers, they're a very well-run organization. Yeah. They're always relevant. They're always in the mix, even if not to the extent a lot of their fans want. The Ravens, same boat. They've been on a great competitive streak for a long time now. There's plenty of really well-run teams. I think the Colts fall into that camp too, even with the frustration about what the GM has done there. They had a great start to the year and just ended on an absolute tailspin. You talk about the Cardinals. The Colts lost 7 in a row. They were like 8-1. It's insane.
MTR says the Rams, Chiefs, Packers, Bills, and Eagles.
Yep. Yeah. Packers for sure belong in that conversation without a doubt.
I never threw because he said the Niners.
The Niners, yeah.
I was just saying that maybe he didn't. Iron says the 49ers. And that would probably be a fair to have the Niners in the top.
And like I said, we're rattling off all these names. There are more well-run teams than there are poorly run teams. But unfortunately, the poorly run teams, because it usually stems all the way to ownership, it's a tough cycle to break.
I'll go back to the DiBartolo days, right? In San Fran, right? I mean, he was probably, when you talk about ownership, one of the more visible guys and the guy that would do anything for his team, for his guys. And that goes back to, like, again, with Montana and all these guys. So he would do absolutely as much as he could possibly do to help his team. For sure. Coming up at the top of the hour, we got Scott Burnside from Burnside on Hockey, also Brian Diardo from CBS Sports. We'll talk a little bit more about the NFL. Before all of that, time now for a Sports 1440 update brought to you by Loca Quality Market. Your next dinner is ready with Loca Quality Market's gourmet meals. Choose from over 200 chef-prepared meals. Shop local at loca.ca. Here is the Duke.
The Sports 1440 update.
Five games across the NHL today. The Rangers welcome in the Mammoth to Madison Square Garden. The Ducks visit the Capitals. Red Wings take on the Senators. That's the Monday night on Prime. Game 5:30 puck drop there. Kraken are down the highway taking on the Flames, and the Kings host the Wild from SoCal. World Junior Hockey Championships wrapping up today from Minnesota. Canada will play in the bronze medal game against Finland. Puck drop there at 2:30. And the gold medal match, both teams in long droughts. Czechia playing Sweden. That one getting underway at 6:30. From the NFL, it's Black Monday, and head coaches continue to be let go. Pete Carroll, after just one season with the Raiders, has been fired by the team. Cleveland Browns early this morning firing two-time Coach of the Year winner Kevin Stefanski. And in case you missed it, last night, the Atlanta Falcons let go of their head coach Raheem Morris, as well as the team's GM. The Bengals announced this morning that they will be retaining head coach Zach Taylor and general manager Duke Tobin. On the hardwood tonight, 8 games in total, including the Raptors back at it against the Hawks when they tip off 5:30 from Scotiabank Arena in Toronto. Elsewhere, Pistons host the Knicks, Celtics take on the Bulls, and the Denver Nuggets, still without Nikola Jokic, are in Philly against the Sixers. Coming up in hour 4 of the Kevin Karius Show, we'll be joined by Scott Burnside from Burnside on Hockey, as well as Brian Diardo from CBS Sports covering the NFL. I'm Brandon Douglas at your Sports 1440 update.
Sports 1440, Stingray radio station.
CKJR broadcasts from West Edmonton Mall and Wetaskiwin.
Download the free Stingray music app and listen wherever you go.
Vinny and Don in Hockey are dedicated to skill development for all hockey players. If you know a student athlete interested in growing as a person and a player, register for a free shadow day. Beginner or experienced, this program develops a student athlete skill in a supportive environment. It's a great opportunity for prospective student athletes entering grades 3 through 12 to see what Vimy and Donnan have to offer. Visit vimyridge.epsb.ca or donnan.epsb.ca for more info and to sign up.
Today on Hey Culligan, how smart is your water? Here's Tracy.
Hey, Culligan. I think my water might be dumb.
Good news, Tracy. Your water's not dumb. It's just not talking to you.
You can make my water talk.
No, but the new Culligan Smart Drinking Water System can talk to your phone to tell you when your water filters need changing and help you meet drinking water goals.
Now that's some brilliant H2O.
You said it, Tracy, and we're already on the way. Let us help you out with a free in-home water test from a local Culligan water expert at culligan.ca.
Exciting news from St. Albert Dodge. The all-new 2026 Jeep Gladiator Sport packages have arrived. They have a great selection and a bunch of colors to choose from. And if you've checked out the Sport, you know it comes in some fun colors. Rugged capability, practical off-road features, and you can get behind the wheel for as low as $49,900. That's right. Put yourself in a brand new Jeep Gladiator Sport for less than $50,000. What more can you ask for? Time to head up the trail and see how easy it is to do business at St. Albert Dodge.
He's heading into the driveway. Temperature's dropping fast, folks. He opens the hood and, oh no, the battery's on thin ice.
Yeah, that's a tough break, Tim. I mean, you can't expect to compete and win with weak parts in your game like that.
But wait, he's made a clutch move. He's gone to Napa Auto Parts for the win. They've got batteries, winter-grade oils, antifreeze, and wiper blades built for cold Alberta conditions.
That's a championship play, Tim.
With over 85 Alberta locations, visit your local Napa store today or shop online at napacanada.com. That's Napa know-how.
Winter in Alberta doesn't mess around.
And neither does Titan Supply.
For over 50 years, we've earned the trust of our customers across a variety of industries.
Because we lead with integrity,
honesty,
and respect.
I'm Joe.
And I'm Brent from Titan Supply. When the weather hits hard,
we're fully stocked with rigging, lifting, and hauling gear that works as hard as you do.
Titan Supply.
Built on trust, driven by safety.
Serving Edmonton, Grand Prairie, Red Deer, and Calgary.
Let us help you face the weather the Titan way.
Visit titansupply.ca.
Just in time for the morning skate. This is the Kevin Karius Show on Sports 1440.
All right, welcome back to the big program. 10 o'clock in Edmonton. Kevin Karius, Duke of Delburne, Josh Fenwick with you on Sports 1440 AM radio. We're also streaming on YouTube, X, Facebook, even Instagram, Twitch. And time now for the Puck Report, brought to you by Fountain Tire. At Fountain Tire, we focus on one thing, and it is your vehicle. From tires and wheels to oil changes and vehicle repairs, we have you covered. Visit fountaintire.com to book your appointment today as we welcome back Scott Burnside from Burnside on Hockey. Morning, Scott. You're with Kevin Karius. Thanks for jumping on Sports 1440 this morning. Really appreciate it.
Kevin, I always enjoy our chat, so I'm pleased that you called. And Happy New Year to you as well.
Happy New Year to you as well, Scott. Yeah, I mean, how about let's talk with the World Juniors a little bit here. And I don't think a lot of people probably would have said that neither Canada or the United States would not be in the gold medal game. At least one of those countries would be. What have you made it the World Juniors and how things have shaken down for a final today where we're going to see the Czechs and Sweden, Scott?
Yeah, no, I think it's always healthy when these things happen, even though it may not be good for TSN and others who are banking on the big boys to show up in the World Junior final as as so often has happened in the past. I think, again, and certainly with the disappointment for Team Canada, and I think a lot of hard questions about roster construction and performance of key players there. And I think you go back to the beginning of the tournament. This is a team that, showed a lack of discipline, showed a lack of preparation. And, to me, it's another question about Hockey Canada. And there have been many over the years. And, I think it's fair to ask the hard questions about how this team was built and constructed, and that's not just from the players on the ice. That's from management on down, and I think there should be some hard questions. But I also think it's a reflection of how this is. It's easy to have a very narrow view of the game, and if you were expecting or hoping for Canada and the U.S. in the final, and I think that a lot of us feel that way when we look ahead to the Olympics in Milan in less than a month. It does a disservice to the other hockey nations, and Czechia is a great example. I think 3 years in a row now they put the pin in Team Canada's World Junior aspirations. Well, that's a credit to the Czechs, their program. It's a small hockey nation, certainly by comparison, but boy, they have found a way to bring it at the most important times at that tournament. And you look at Finland and Sweden, some of the other teams that maybe don't get the attention that the Canada and the U.S. do. But you mentioned a final here today. Both those teams are full value for it, and good for those programs. And I think really do think it's probably good for the game that this happens, even if it's a bitter pill to swallow for the folks in North America.
Yeah, well, I mean, the Czechs, they're going to be going for their first World Junior gold in 25 years, and the Swedes have, looking for their second gold in 45 years. So I totally agree with you, Scott, in the sense that the gap is really, really fine. It's closed a lot. It used to be that Canada and, the United States has come on here, but all these other countries are right there too. What's impressed you about the Czechs? Like even in that game last night, they were full value, full marks for their win.
Yeah, well, and it's not just sometimes I think internationally when these upsets have happened, and I think it's fair to call it an upset, although maybe just with lowercase upset as opposed to uppercase or all caps, is that it's a team that it doesn't just have to grind out a 2-1 or 3-2 victory with a goaltender who stands on his head and makes 45 stops. This is a team that went toe-to-toe. They scored goal for goal. The offense obviously was superior at the end of the day, scored at critical moments. And that's the other thing for me is, when the pressure gets going, and I know the attendance maybe wasn't what people were hoping for in Minnesota, and that's kind of disappointing. But nonetheless, the pressure on those kids in that game against Canada was enormous, and yet they didn't shrink from it. And I think that's it for me is it goes back to management, it goes back to coaching, but certainly, the character of those young Czech players. And they've waited a long time to get to a championship. Who knows whether the Swedes will acquiesce or not, but just the fact that they're there after beating Canada yet again, I think is a great testament to the program. And I think it will be interesting in Milan. Again, I don't know if the Czechs have the firepower to go against the big boys from Canada and the United States. Sweden would be in that mix as well. But that's a great thing about these international best-on-best tournaments is that you got to play the games. Yeah. It's not done, chatting or doing analysis or any of those things. You got to play the games on the ice, and this World Junior Tournament is another reminder of that.
Scott Burnside with us on Sports 1440. You mentioned the attendance. How disappointing is it in your mind, Scott? And I mean, what could have been done differently? I mean, there was talk about Canada and the U.S. in the same pool, same building, but how disappointing was the attendance in your view?
Yeah, and I haven't followed it all that closely. I did see some of the reporting that, again, it's something that has happened in the past. If I'm not mistaken, you go back a few years ago when the World Juniors were in Toronto and Montreal. And if you're an organizer and you're trying to, you're pricing the tickets at a premium, almost NHL value for this event. Listen, it's a great event. There's been amazing hockey played over the years. It's become a real part of the fabric of the international hockey community. But to assume that everyone can afford to pay those prices, especially with maybe some of the lesser games, and certainly, I saw some of the shots of the last few games, and it's really disappointing. To me, maybe it's a mindset of, well, who do you want to come to these games? Shouldn't it be hockey family? Shouldn't it be kids? Shouldn't it be youth hockey organizations? Shouldn't the prices reflect who you want your audience to be? And maybe it's just been misguided. And obviously, you want to make money at an event like this. And in the past, there have been great tournaments where the games have been sold out or close to being sold out all the time. But if you price yourself out of that, and all of a sudden you've got thousands and thousands of empty seats at a premier event like this, then I think you have to go back and look at the mindset and look at really what it is you're trying to achieve. And if you can't have it in a big city, in an NHL rink, then maybe it needs to, maybe you need to be in Red Deer, or maybe you need to be in Brandon or somewhere else where people who want to see those games can, and you price them at an affordable rate. And maybe that's where you get back to your grassroots, where people fill the building and the vibe, it comes together with the importance of the event, because clearly there is a bit of a disconnect now.
Yeah, good points. Scott Burnside on Hockey, our guest on the Kevin Karius Show on Sports 1440. Well, we're at the halfway point of the NHL season, basically. The number one story, is it Colorado in your mind, Scott, going into the second half and just the 3 regulation losses?
It's interesting. I was just writing this today, a mid-season, look back, look ahead, and clearly, the Avs are the cream of the crop. No one's going to touch them, I don't think. And it made me think though of back to Tampa winning the President's Trophy in 2019, and immediately getting swept by the Columbus Blue Jackets. Now, I'm not predicting a demise for the Avs next April against Anaheim or LA or Seattle or whoever might be the low wild card team that is going to play them. But there does become a challenge for Jared Bednar and the rest of that Avalanche team as the second half moves along. They're 11 points ahead of Dallas and Minnesota. Those are the top 3 teams in the NHL. So no one's touching Colorado at the top. They're going to win the President's Trophy. They're going to have home ice advantage throughout the playoffs. But the challenge, I think, is going to be, what do you play for? Where is your urgency? And I remember having a conversation with John Cooper after the Lightning were dispatched by a very, like an 8th place, very lightly regarded Columbus Blue Jackets team. And John Cooper said, we could not find another gear. There was nobody pressing us. There was no urgency. There was, it didn't matter what the Lightning did down the stretch. They were unassailable. And yet when the playoffs started, they could not elevate their game. They couldn't find the way. We've seen Florida's a great example of it the last 3 years, but especially in that first year, they went to the finals, an 8th seed. You have to be able to play a different style of hockey come playoff time. You have to, and sometimes that's teams that have struggled to get into the playoffs to begin with, or maybe did struggle to get home ice advantage, where you've had some adversity, all those kinds of things. Now, I'm not saying that the Avs can't do it. They're so well built. They're well coached. They're deep. They are so good at every facet of the game. I think the power play is a little bit ordinary, but at this stage, it doesn't really matter. That's going to be the challenge, though, I think, is come playoff time, can that Avalanche team take it to another level and fulfill, what looks right now to be their destiny as the best team in the NHL.
Yeah, you said Dallas and Minnesota right behind them in 2 and 3. In your viewpoint, Scott, who's the better team, Dallas or Minnesota right now?
It's such a different, they're 2 different teams, and they come at this season from different perspectives, I think. The Stars have been right there the last 3 or 4 years. Western Conference final appearances, couldn't quite get over the hump. I think there are some questions about Jake Ottinger in goal. I'm interested to see what happens to him at the Olympics, and does he supplant Connor Hellebuck as a starter for Team USA? But we go back, Pete DeBoer's famous pulling of Jake Ottinger in the final game in the series against Edmonton last spring, which ultimately cost Pete DeBoer his job. But he hasn't been able to elevate his game, Ottinger, at those critical moments. So, they're a very good team. I love how that team is built. Minnesota, of course, Bill Guerin, talk about swinging for the fences and acquiring Quinn Hughes. To me, the interesting part is in the emergence of Jesper Wallstedt as a very nice, 1A to Philip Gustafson's 1B. Can that goaltending hold up through the second half of the season? Quinn Hughes does change pretty much everything, though, in Minnesota. They I think, give the Wild a very equal footing, certainly in the first round playoff series, which looks inevitable now against the Dallas Stars. I think that series would be absolutely dynamite because two teams, lots of grit, lots of experience. The Wild have struggled to get out of the playoffs for many years now. But Bill Guerin has given John Hines all the tools he needs to go on a longer playoff run. Of course, you have to play Colorado in the second round. But anyway, I think those, that's, you want to go back to a question you could ask the league. This, to me, is the great flaw of the current playoff system, is that Minnesota and Dallas, the 2 and 3 teams, not just in the West, but in the entire NHL, will play each other in the first round. And so one of your top 3 teams is guaranteed to be out of the playoffs in a week or a week and a half. And it shouldn't be that way.
Can you believe the Eastern Conference, Scott? I mean, every team is at least 2 games over 500. Columbus is at the bottom of the pack, but they're only a couple of wins back of a potential wild card spot. I don't remember it ever being this close.
I don't know how you go about handicapping the East, and you're absolutely right. From top to bottom, right now, Tampa's the best team in the East. And to me, they're the only team right now that you could imagine, if the playoffs started today, giving Colorado or Minnesota or Dallas a run, I think, in a Stanley Cup final. I think Carolina is a very good team. I'm not sure about their goaltending or depth down the middle, but I would put them, right with Tampa at the top. But the rest is, so many teams with flaws, so many teams that have surged and fallen back. I look at the Buffalo Sabres, won 10 games in a row, haven't been in the playoffs since 2011. Is this the year? They've fired Kevin Adams. Jarmo Kekäläinen has, I think has promised to make some changes there, but what happens to them leading up to the trade deadline? Florida Panthers technically out of the playoffs right now. They're a point out, but does anyone expect them not to be in the top 8? New York Rangers, what do you do with Artemi Panarin as he comes to the end of his contract? It's not a very good Ranger team, and yet here we are 3 points out of a playoff spot, coming off a Winter Classic win over Florida. So, it's so hard to imagine how the next 2 or 3 months are going to unfold, especially as we get closer to the trade deadline after the Olympics. If you're a GM of an Eastern Conference team, you're right. Chris Drury looks at his team. They're actually the worst team in the Eastern Conference by points percentage. And yet they're a team, expectations are always high with the Rangers. Again, what do you do with Panarin? Are you trying to move him because your asset pool is so thin? Or do you say, geez, this is truly one of those years. All you have to do is find your way into the tournament in April, and really, the world is your oyster. So it's a lot of challenges for a lot of different GMs. Steve Staios in Ottawa is another one who's, the team looks good for a day or two, looks terrible for a week or so. What do you do with the Senators after, such an impressive season last year and really giving the Toronto Maple Leafs all they could handle in the first round? So a lot of pressure on GMs. I'm glad that's way above my pay grade, of course, but it's going to be fun to watch. So.
Hey, Scott, as always, thanks for your time. Really appreciate it. And again, have a great 2026. Really appreciate you always coming on. Thanks a lot.
Anytime.
All right. That's Scott Burnside from Burnside on Hockey and our Puck Report, brought to you by Fountain Tire. And again, we have one thing on our mind and your mind too. It's your vehicle. From tires and wheels to oil changes. Check them out at fountaintire.com. When we come back, we're going to talk a little bit more about the NFL coaching carousel. Another coach gets canned while we're talking to Burnsy, and it's in Arizona. They have fired head coach Jonathan Gannon. So there are now about, 7 openings for head coaches? 6, I think, maybe. Giants, Titans, Falcons, Cardinals, Browns, Raiders. So 6. That's coming up with Brian Diardo from CBS Sports on the Kevin Karius Show on Sports 1440 AM radio. We're also streaming on YouTube, X, Facebook, Instagram, and Twitch.
Top quality flooring, locally owned, and Canadian products from Beaulieu. Yeah, that's CFI.
CFI what?
No, CFI, Custom Floors Inc.
From free estimate to professional installation, contact Custom Floors Inc. at customfloorsinc.ca.
This hockey season, before every game, check out the pregame show with Andrew Walker on Sports 1440. It's brought to you by Titan Supply, your only source for rigging, lifting, and hauling products. Visit titansupply.ca.
I'm getting McDonald's. You want anything?
Oh, yeah. I'll get I'm obviously going to get the McVeggie, medium fries and a medium fountain drink for $9.99. It's my favorite meal, and it's new. Plus, if I get that, maybe he'll want it too. And then he'll always thank me for introducing him to the McVeggie. I'll be a hero.
So, McVeggie fries and drink?
How'd you know?
You were thinking out loud again. Get yourself a McVeggie meal for just $9.99 plus tax for a limited time only at participating McDonald's restaurants.
For almost half a century, families, farmers, and mechanics across Alberta have trusted Ed's Auto Salvage in Westlock. Why? Because we know cars and we know value. Hi, Lisa here. And whether it's keeping your work truck hauling or getting your teenager's first car back on the road, Ed's has the parts you need at prices you can afford. Reliable, affordable, local. That's Ed's Auto Salvage. With province-wide shipping and daily delivery to Edmonton, visit us at edsautosalvage.com.
Happy New Year from Metal Supermarkets. They'd like to thank you for making them your place to shop for metal and for quick, efficient precision cutting and metal bending. If your resolutions for 2026 include a new project, commercial or residential, they're here to help. And speaking of resolutions, I've taken up pickleball.
11-0. I win.
Great. Now I can nap.
It's best of 3.
Not in my kitchen, kid. Metal Supermarkets, the local convenience stores for Southside, West End, metalsupermarkets.com.
I'm Rick Showers from No Bull RV. This is the time of year people make their New Year's resolutions. If they're lucky, they'll keep that up till February. So I propose another resolution. This year, resolve to be camp ready. Now, what do I mean by that? At No Bull RV, camp ready means never wondering if your RV will be ready for May long weekend. You know it'll be ready because you made the decision back in the winter. You know now.
Is Camp Ready something I can get from No Bull RV?
That's right, Bob. Camp Ready is our 12-month RV maintenance plan. It includes winterization in the fall, startup in the spring, roof assessments every year, and all your scheduled maintenance. So when you want to get to the great outdoors, you already know you're Camp Ready.
How do I get to be Camp Ready, Rick?
We're starting small, Bob. Just 100 Camp Ready plans are available at No Bull right now.
And that's No Bull.
NoBullRV.ca.
Have your sports curiosity cured with the Kevin Karius Show. This is Sports 1440.
All right, welcome back to the big program. 10:20 in Edmonton. Another NFL coach just fired. Cardinals firing head coach Jonathan Gannon. Arizona was 15-36 under Gannon, including losing 14 of its final 15 games this season. We're going to talk about that and a whole lot more with Brian Diardo from CBS Sports. Good morning, Brian. You're with Kevin Karius. Thanks for jumping on Sports 1440 this morning. Really appreciate it.
Anytime. I wanted to say, if I may, real quick, I was listening to the hockey thing. I know a place where Artemi Panarin could go if the Rangers want to deal him. If you can see my hat, the Columbus Blue Jackets. We used to have Panarin. We called him Bread back in the day. He played a big role in the Jackets' first and only ever playoff victory against the Tampa Bay Lightning. So
there you go.
No hard feelings. We'll take you back. We need you to get out of the cellar. So just an idea from the NFL guy.
Sure. Let's get him there. I don't know what you'd have to give up. What do you think you'd have to give up to get him?
Oh, see, that's where that's above my pay grade. I'll give up anything. They need offense. They need scoring, and that's always kind of been an issue with us. I mean, Zach Werenski is, in my opinion, the future Hall of Famer. He's an amazing player, and so we just need something to kind of get the scoring going. We had the Penguins on the ropes yesterday, and that's our MO against them, specifically just giving up those big leads. So, if we can get Brett back, and I know he's a little older, I think 34, 35,
Yep.
and but I know he's still got a lot of skill, and I think, if he left, I think partly because I think his girlfriend at the time wanted a bigger market. So if that's changed, and now he feels differently about Pittsburgh. Like a lot of players did that. Rick Nash went to the Rangers. Now he's back in Columbus working for the team. We retired his jersey. So I don't know what it would take. I wouldn't imagine anything crazy given his age. I don't think it would be like a massive draft pick or a lot of capital or anything. I mean, maybe they need goaltending help. We could let Elvis go. I'm not sure, but yeah, we take him back for sure.
Well, maybe you should get a job with the Columbus hockey department, Brian.
Hey, if they call, I'm here. Right now I'm just serving as a radio consultant. Unofficially. But I'm willing to do whatever it takes to help them out. We need to get some more playoff appearances here.
Yeah, why not? Brian Diardo from CBS Sports, our guest on the Kevin Karius Show on Sports 1440. So 3 coaches get canned today in Vegas, Cleveland, and just recently in the last 15 or 20 minutes in Arizona. What do you make of the firings this morning, Brian?
Well, I think, the Gannon one was expected. I think for me, the writing was on the wall when he got fined from his own team earlier this season when he had a verbal altercation with a player on the sideline. I mean, once that happened, it's very, very rare, coaches ever get fined by their own team. So I think he lost the locker room. And they lost a lot of close games. And I know they had Kyler Murray injury issues and things of that nature. But at the end of the day, your job's to overcome those things and win games. I mean, the Carroll one, not surprising either.
Yeah.
They were but I think the common denominator with all 3 of these teams, I think the Cardinals are the outlier. I think I personally thought they were one of my sleeper teams in the NFC. So I think they're the one that's the most surprising. But really, you look at Cleveland's roster, you look at the Raiders roster. Their struggles this year aren't a surprise at all. And Carroll and Gannon, I'm okay with those firings. I mean, the writing was kind of on the wall for both of them. But to me, I don't understand why you would fire Stefanski and keep Andrew Berry. Stefanski did, in my opinion, the best job he could with a very, very flawed roster that Andrew Berry gave him. I mean, name me, a receiver they have outside of Judy. I can't name one. I mean, he was forced to start Shedeur Sanders, in my opinion, and he's not an NFL quarterback. And despite Sanders not being an NFL quarterback right now, they won their last 2 games. They have a really good defense, but to me, that's a very flawed roster. And it's just so odd to me that these coaches, some of them are getting fired for trying to work with a roster that's so flawed. I mean, you can't tell me that Stefanski went from being a coach of the year 2 years ago to being a coach that deserves to be fired today. I just don't buy it.
Where do you think Stefanski surfaces, Brian?
The first name that jumped out to me was the Raiders, because I think, Tom Brady, has a presence in that organization as a minority owner. I think he's a relatively active minority owner with them, as much as he can be with all his other interests in broadcasting and other things. But I think they're going to want a guy that's proven. I think that's one of the reasons why they hired Carroll, but maybe not someone as seasoned as Carroll, right? I think, to me, I still think Stefanski is a very good NFL coach, and this is just a classic situation where, it just was no longer a good fit in Cleveland, whether that was their fault, his fault, a combination of both. So I think he could go there and I think have success relatively soon. That's a hard division, obviously, but I think that would be a good fit for him. I mean, Tennessee would be another decent fit, just because they have Cam Ward. That's a more winnable division, I would say. But I think he will. In my opinion, I think he'll get hired very, very quickly. Arizona would be another good place for him, because I think there people are already kind of saying, "Oh, it's time to move on from Kyler Murray." Well, maybe not necessarily. Maybe if they can bring Stefanski there, that to me would be the best fit for him. Arizona, but other than that, I think Vegas would be another good fit, or Tennessee.
What do you think they're going to do with Kyler Murray in Arizona, Brian, in the sense that he's guaranteed a good chunk of change in 2026 and then even more in 2027? There's a lot of cash on the table here.
See, I've never thought he was the issue. I thought there were external factors around him. Whenever he's been healthy, they've been really good. And that's the reason why I was kind of saying incorrectly as it proved that they were kind of my sleeper team this year. And they started off 2-0, so I was feeling really good about that for a couple weeks, right? But I don't think he's really necessarily the problem. Obviously, he's going to get older. He's going to have to learn to be more of a pocket passer because, as we all know, when you get a little bit older as a quarterback, you lose some of that mobility. I think they keep him but the huge but is, everybody's looking for a quarterback out there. So I think it just depends on the market. If they could get a second round pick for him and a couple, it won't just be one pick, right? It'd be a second and maybe a fourth or a fifth or a second and a third or something. If they can get that kind of deal, I think they will trade him because they have Brissett behind him who played really well this past season, albeit they didn't win any games with him, but he still played well for them. I think if they can get a decent return, they'll do it. But I just don't think the market's going to be there for him unless a team like Pittsburgh loses Rodgers or something, or the Colts to Daniel Jones, something goes wrong there. I just don't see the market for Kyler Murray to get moved. That's why I think they'll keep him.
Brian Diardo, our guest on the Kevin Karius Show from CBS Sports. When you look at the playoff matchups coming up this weekend, I wanted to really just kind of talk about Jacksonville and Houston, the two hottest teams going into the playoffs. Can you believe the turnaround that the Jaguars had from last year to this year, Brian?
Yes and no. Yes, because they were a good team semi-recently before things went south with Doug Peterson. So I'm not terribly surprised, but it still is obviously a huge, obviously one of the stories of the season is their turnaround. I think it's one of the biggest, one season turnarounds ever. And also the way Cohen got hired, it was kind of controversial. He left the Buccaneers relatively late. I do think his exit from Tampa Bay contributed to them going 8-9 and missing the playoffs for the first time in a long time. But no, it's definitely surprising. Again, I think when you've got Trevor Lawrence and some of the defensive players they have and the playmakers they have, I think the turnaround can be faster, but still very surprising. Mm-hmm. And then you mentioned, was Houston the other team you mentioned?
Yeah, Houston.
Yeah, they're crazy because of the 0-3 start. If you told me they're going to be in the playoffs, I wouldn't be surprised at all. But the fact that they were 0-3, they won 9 straight games. Mm-hmm. And I think DeMeco Ryans, he's one of the best coaches in the league, bar none. And the fact that he's getting no coach of the year consideration to me is really surprising. But you look at all their young receivers that had to come of age this year and did, and the fact that they had, they lost Joe Mixon before the season even started. They put a lot on CJ Stroud's shoulders, that defense's shoulders. That's going to be a really big game in Pittsburgh. I'm excited to watch it. But yeah, both of those are very surprising for different reasons.
Yeah. And Josh Allen has never won a road playoff game, I believe 0-2. So do you think he can go into Jacksonville and the Bills have a shot at beating the Jags here?
I think they're going to win because I have a lot of faith in Josh Allen, and I think James Cook is mm-hmm. very, very underrated. I think he did win the rushing title. I think he just did edge out Derrick Henry. But if you're Buffalo, this is great for you because you get to go to a warm climate, right? And so I think they're going to take advantage of that. And the history of the Bills, a long history, they do have success winning playoff games in Florida. They did it to the other Florida team, the Dolphins, way back in 1992 when I was a little kid. So they have history going to warm weather, Florida and winning playoff games. So I like Buffalo in this game. And I think for them, the key is obviously James Cook running the football. They've got to take pressure off of Josh Allen. I think if this is a Josh Allen game, then they're going to be in trouble. But I do think they're going to win because of James Cook.
And you like the Texans over the Steelers?
Tough question. I watched that Steelers game last night, like I think a lot of people did. And as I'm watching, I'm thinking they're really spilling their buckets for this one. And I don't know how much they're going to have left for the next week. I really don't. But I think getting Metcalf back, and I know this is a playoff game per se, but the Steelers on Monday Night Football have a long, long track record of success. They haven't won a playoff game in 9 years, and that's why they got Aaron Rodgers. They got him so that they could get over that hump. I am going to pick the Steelers. How about that? 2 road predictions. I'm surprised in myself here. But I do think they're going to win because I think that Houston, as good as they are on defense, a lot of their calling card is sacks and getting turnovers. The Steelers have been good this year in pass protection, and Rodgers doesn't throw turnovers, or he doesn't commit turnovers very much. I think he's the best quarterback in NFL history in terms of taking care of the ball. So I like Pittsburgh in that game as well.
Is the best game of the bunch in the NFC, Brian, the Eagles and Niners?
No, I think it's gonna be. It might be Packers and Bears. I think. I
Okay.
mean, I think on paper the Niners and Eagles. Okay, competitiveness. Yes, but the Eagles awful to watch this season, aren't they? They're so bad to watch. Like if you're telling me competitiveness, yeah, I'll give you that game. But I just think the Eagles have been. It reminds me of the Eagles 2 years ago, where they made the playoffs, but they really slumped going in, and they didn't fix it. And I was wrong with Tampa Bay. I picked them all the last month to figure it out, and they never did. And so it's an old Bill Parcells quote: "You are what your record says you are." And to me, look at the Eagles. I know their record is good, but their offense has been dreadful all year. And I've been saying it for a while. If they don't change play callers, it's not going to get any better. So to me, that's kind of an easy 49ers win, and as long as they take care of the ball. I think the most competitive game and the best game is going to be Packers Bears. They had two great games during the regular season. If you're the Bears, that's not who you wanted to face. You wanted to get that number 2 seed. You wanted a chance to not face, a division rival that knows you right away. I think that's going to be a classic game.
What is it about that Bears-Packers matchup that you think that the Packers have a shot here?
I just think it's Jordan Love and the familiarity. I mean, they know each other so well. And I think, and it kind of reminds me of the Ravens-Steelers game last night, since that was essentially a playoff game. When you know each other, I mean, the Steelers were underdogs in that game. But I think when you know each other, it's like any rivalry, right? Like hockey, football, whatever it is, you throw the records out and it just becomes who plays better on that day, right? And so, Jordan Love, he didn't last year. I mean, they lost in the first round, but he does have a history of playing really well in playoff games. He's had success against this Bears defense. To me, if Josh Jacobs is healthy, just like James Cook in Buffalo, if he can get rolling, I think that they have a real shot at this game. I must really like the road teams.
Yeah.
Maybe that'll be a theme. Maybe we'll be on next week and we'll discuss. Either way, I'm going to be really right or really wrong. Either way. But I really do think that the familiarity does favor the Packers in this game.
Do you think that the Rams-Panthers matchup is the most lopsided one?
No, because I mean it has the potential to be yes, but the Panthers beat them recently, but I think the Rams are pretty peeved off that how their season ended, right? And so it's either going to continue and spiral in this game or they're going to right the ship and win. And I think that again, I'm going to keep going with this road thing. I will say I think the Packers. No, I was going to say I don't know what. To me, that's a coin flip. I was going to say I would lean towards the Bears, but I can see the Packers getting the upset. I think the Rams are going to win this game, but they're going to have to remember how to win. I mean, that might be a weird thing to say, but they've forgotten that feeling the last couple of weeks. They let that Seattle game so far could define their season. They had the number 1 seed basically locked up. They lost that game, and now they fall to the 5 seed. And now if they want to get back to Seattle, they're going to have to do it the hard way. But yeah, I mean, Carolina, the book's out on them. And Chris Shula, who's their defensive coordinator, who I think is going to get a head coaching job here, the grandson of the legendary Don Shula. I think this is his showcase, his opportunity to really show what he can do. But yeah, I think this has the potential to get out of hand if the Rams contain the Panthers running game and force their Bryce Young to beat them downfield.
Well, Brian, thanks so much for all your insight here. Maybe we'll get Don Waddell on the horn here, and you can be his right-hand man and somehow help get the bread man back to Columbus.
And I don't even need any money. Just keep sending me this merch. I enjoy their 25th anniversary stuff. So yeah, if you can get Waddell on the phone, I can get down to Nationwide Arena in about 20 minutes.
Good stuff. Thanks, Brian. Have a great 2026. Really appreciate you coming on.
Anytime. Thank you.
That's Brian Diardo from CBS Sports. Covers the NFL and obviously wants to get involved with the Columbus Blue Jackets, reacquiring Artemi Panarin from the Rangers. Last year of his contract for the bread man, he's at, what is he at? $11.6 million. 34 years old, UFA next year. So you never know. Maybe Brian's in the mix there. When we come back, we will wrap up the big program. Kevin Karius, Duke of Delburne, Josh Fenwick on Sports 1440 AM radio. We're streaming on YouTube, X, Facebook, Instagram, and Twitch.
Do you sit around at work listening to sports radio all day? That's right, my friend. There's no shame in it. It's the good life. And we're not here to snitch. Say, if your company advertised on Sports 1440, you could be the one listening for your company's ad every day. Now you've got an excuse to listen to Sports 1440 all day. It's part of the job. Sounds like someone's getting a promotion. Email Gregor at sports1440.ca and let's get to work for you.
I'm getting McDonald's. You want anything?
Oh, yeah. I'll get well, I'm obviously going to get the McVeggie, medium fries and a medium fountain drink for $9.99. It's my favorite meal and it's new. Plus, if I get that, maybe he'll want it too. And then he'll always thank me for introducing him to the McVeggie. I'll be a hero.
So, McVeggie fries and drink?
How'd you know?
You were thinking out loud again. Get yourself a McVeggie meal for just $9.99 plus tax for a limited time only at participating McDonald's restaurants.
Legacy Heating and Cooling offers no payments and no interest for 1 year on your new furnace. So, when you wake up to no heat,
Call Legacy. Call Legacy.
if you need it immediately with no overtime rates, if you need it immediately and want to combo it with AC,
Call Legacy. Call Legacy.
no payments and no interest for 1 year on your new furnace. It could only be Legacy Heating and Cooling. This hockey season, before every game, check out the pregame show with Andrew Walker on Sports 1440. It's brought to you by Titan Supply, your only source for rigging, lifting, and hauling products. Visit titansupply.ca.
You know, this year I can't decide what to work on for my New Year's resolution. See, my confidence, my appearance, or my general happiness.
Why not improve all three by finally addressing your hair loss? Hi, I'm Dr. Vance Elliott. Receding hairlines and bald spots can chip away at your self-image, make you look older, and feel unattractive. Let's discuss your options for regaining a full natural head of hair and make this the year you get your mojo back. Book a free first consultation today at drvanceelliott.com.
Imagine a family get-together where the smiles are as genuine as the conversations. That's the feeling you get at Nisku Ford, a family-owned dealership where finding a new Ford feels just like catching up with old friends. Here, you can take your time, explore the latest Fords, and enjoy the no-pressure atmosphere. It's not just about cars. It's about family, comfort, and trust. The coffee's on, so drive into Nisku Ford or visit niskuford.ca today. Above expectations.
Across rural Alberta, volunteers and community groups work hard to make life better for their neighbors, creating new playgrounds, better rinks, and gathering places that bring us together. Vision Credit Union is proud to lend these local heroes a helping hand. Apply today for a Helping Hand grant up to $10,000 to support your community's next big idea. Let's make great things happen together. Applications are open until January 31st, 2026. Learn more at whatsyourshare.ca.
Have your sports curiosity cured with the Kevin Karius Show. This is Sports 1440.
To the big program, 1040 in Edmonton. Final home stretch to the Kevin Karius Show with the Duke of Delburne. Josh Fenwick on Sports 1440 AM radio. We're streaming on YouTube, X, Facebook, Instagram, and Twitch, our text line. And I'm looking forward to this week. Triple C in a truck in Montana to Rice going at it. Triple C comes in and says, what is this guy smoking? An easy 49ers win. Are you joking? They're going to be on their fourth quarterback by the third quarter. It's a bye week for the Eagles this week. Easy win. I believe Purdy, I think he's got typed in incorrectly, will be hurt by the second quarter, no problem. Montana to Rice comes back. I like how confident this guy is in for the Niners, but our defense is so bad. Garrett Wallow is playing linebacker Saturday night. Who the hell is that? If Soft Pearsall and Big Trent Williams can't play, they're in trouble. That being said, I still got the Niners in a dogfight 23-20. I'm surprised that these two guys, it's going to be a good week because obviously Triple C is a big Philadelphia Eagles fan, MTR a big Niners fan. So I'm sure that there's going to be some barbs, some jabs going back and forth between these two. Hot Salsa texts in, is Belichick going to Vegas? And Duke just said right before we went to break, could you imagine total spite move by Tom Brady hiring Bill Belichick and then bossing him around?
Just to boss him around for a season, because that's how long it would last, and then firing him. I'd be like, there you go, Bill. That's payback for all those years of you being an absolute jerk. But hey, the rings, winning talks.
Rig texts in, where does Kyler Murray go? I don't know, Duke. Do you think they do this buyout and all that stuff? It's a lot of cash.
It is, and man, but like you think about it from a Murray perspective, like what do you look at as a landing spot? That there's plenty of teams that need a quarterback, but you got outplayed by Jacoby Brissett inside that offense with the Cards, where it's like, man, Michael Wilson, this guy's a real player. You have to hope that the next guy they bring in,
Harrison's going to be better.
Like that would improve Marvin Harrison. You have one of the best tight ends in the league, and Trey McBride.
The best.
Like you got weapons.
Yeah.
But and then like Jacoby Brissett comes in and clearly commands the offense better than you do.
From Adam Schefter, Kyler Murray's guaranteed $36.8 million in 2026. On the 5th day of the new league year in mid-March, another $19.5 million of Murray's 2027 base salary becomes guaranteed if he is still on the roster. So you're looking at, 36.8 and 19.5. I mean, what are they going to do? What are they going to do? MTR comes back. Triple C isn't smart, though. He keeps bringing up how Purdy is hurt. That happened years ago. My quarterback can pass.
Well, these boys are going to be going at each other's throats here for the next couple of days. What did you think of the schedule, Kev? Like that obviously got released last night during the Sunday Nighter.
Yeah.
I was absolutely stunned to see Texans and Steelers as the Sunday night game.
I think it's Monday night, is it not?
Or sorry, Monday night. Yeah, you're right. Yeah. You are. Either way, like I don't think the Texans have ever played a playoff game that wasn't on a Saturday, and usually the Saturday afternoon slot. And they live there.
And what is the Steelers' record on Monday night? Like they
haven't lost in Tomlin's
20
career,
years or something like that, isn't it?
Yeah,
something like that.
I don't think Tomlin's ever lost on Monday Night Football.
Do you think that comes into play? Because I honestly I did pick the Texans.
Well, they are at home, so it doesn't even matter if they. I think this is still absolutely the Texans' game to win. They're favored by 3.5 points, and that's being on the road. So that and Connor said,
do you have the lines? All the lines?
I have the lines in front of me here.
What do you got? What have we got?
This is via ESPN. So Texans at Steelers, Houston -3.5. Jags hosting the Bills, Buffalo -1.5.
Wow.
Chargers heading to
New
England to play the Patriots. New England -3.5 at Foxborough. Panthers hosting the Rams. Rams -9.5.
That's the big one.
And that's as a road team as well. Eagles hosting the Niners. Philly -3.5. And Bears taking on the Packers from the frozen tundra of Soldier Field.
Yes.
Not Lambeau Field. Green Bay -1.5.
So see, to me, that like Green Bay, that's going to turn into a pick'em game because I think a lot of the money's going to start going to Chicago now.
Yeah, I think so.
Yeah,
I'm going to be rooting for the Bears.
Yeah.
I think the Packers defense is just a little too debilitated, and it certainly did not look it yesterday for a team that was still rolling out the vast majority of their regulars on offense. In the case of the Bears, but like that is an offense that can make it happen, right? It's just a matter of if the defense can get a stop, which they didn't against the Niners a week ago on Sunday night, and that's why they lost the game.
Which line do you think? Like and it's 3.5 Philly, you say?
Yeah, that's right.
I wonder if that line moves.
I could see it sticking the same because as I was kind of alluding to there, like they say that home field is worth about 3 points.
Yeah.
So essentially, what we're looking at is a pick'em game. The Eagles are at home.
Roddy says 49ers 23-17. Eagles suck. Roddy. I need to get Roddy's and MTR's what I owe them for those bets.
I think they said they want you to buy him a bottle like Cristal or something.
No,
maybe
it was I think it's an 8-pack of
Dom Perignon
change for MTR, and then
I thought Roddy wanted some whiskey. Be a pretty small bottle.
Yeah, it's going to be a small bottle.
Get him a Mickey.
Yeah, I should buy him a Mickey.
A little Mickey, a Royal Reserve.
5-star. MTR says that line will move if Pearsall and Trent Williams go.
Yeah, without Trent Williams, the Niners are going to be tough to win that game. I firmly believe that because the Niners cannot get any sort of a pass rush going. And what are the Eagles? What can they do well? They can get after the passer between Jordan Davis, Jalen Carter. They could do some damage up front. And without Trent Williams, and this is saying as Williams, who is not even close to the player he once was, he's still their best lineman. And he's still all world at the position. And his absence has been very noticeable the past couple games.
So I was just thinking about, the immobility of Aaron Rodgers and how much Will Anderson and Danielle Hunter are going to get after him, you think?
Well, I would think a lot.
Yeah.
And it's been the Texans calling card all year. We've said it since they started the season 0-3. Still managed to crawl their way back in the playoffs. They've obviously been on an absolute heater to finish off the season. The offense has found its legs to an extent enough. They're not world beaters. I don't feel uncomfortable saying that, but I think that they're good enough offensively that the Steelers D is seemingly touch and go. Look at how bad they were in the fourth quarter last night. And we know that CJ Stroud is really good under center. He's really good off of play action. So I wonder if that might factor in here, but the defense is going to most likely win them this game. And it will come in the form of harassing Rodgers enough that he maybe gets goaded into throwing a bad ball where the secondary can pick off as well as anybody. But yeah, I have to think Anderson and Hunter are licking their lips at a matchup of a 42-year-old Aaron Rodgers under center.
That's where I'm going. I just think that's going to be the difference in the game with the pressure that they get on Aaron Rodgers. And for good reason. I mean, and you saw, both those defenses last night in the fourth quarter, it was
it's like they weren't even trying.
It was so stupid. It was I thought the way that the game was going to play out was not even close. I was thinking, okay, this is going to be...
The first half was this is the most Steelers-Ravens game ever.
Yeah.
And it was pretty boring and not a lot going on. Both offenses looked pretty lackluster. And then all of a sudden in the second half, and especially the fourth quarter, it opened up into a track meet. And Lamar Jackson he was excellent, especially in the fourth quarter. That first 50-yarder to Zay Flowers, right? Getting right out of the sack from Highsmith, who was completely had him wrapped up, and then delivering it perfectly in the bucket over the shoulder to Flowers. You can't draw it up any better than that.
Roddy says Crown Black signed. That's an expensive black label, isn't it?
Yeah, but think about it. Once you sign it, the value will decrease right back down to what the Royal Reserve would be worth.
Jay and Victoria says, get them both some silk tassel.
Hey, I'll never say a bad word about silk tassel.
Yeah.
I've never bought it, but that was the house whiskey at Garneau Pub.
Was it?
Where I drank, I don't know, 1 million gallons of it.
I didn't think you were a whiskey guy.
Oh yeah. Yep. Oh yeah. That's the only hard liquor I'll really drink.
Well, what were you drinking when we were at the casino there? Wasn't it something Crown and ginger? Or something?
Yeah, whiskey ginger probably.
Oh. I don't know if I could handle that whiskey ginger.
Whiskey ginger, even pressed, is good, but I'll still drink a whiskey and Coke, but it's a little too sweet for me. In my advanced age here.
Are you in your advanced age?
And honestly, I drink rye and water a lot of the time, just rye waters with a wedge of lime.
Let's bring in Josh Fenwick here. Now, am I under the impression here that you are taking a dry January? You're doing not drinking in January at all?
Yeah, no, I do it every year. I've been hitting it relatively hard the last 11 months, so I was like, I think it's time to give the old liver a break here.
Maybe the liver gets a little break.
A little bit.
So you haven't had a drink for 4 days here then, or what?
No, I haven't. Let me tell you, it was a real slog on the first to get home from Calgary and go. All I could think about was, man, I need a beer after that drive.
Yeah,
didn't have one, so good on me
there. So
there.
you were 4 days of dry January, and you're going to do the whole month?
Yeah.
Okay, Duke, could you do a dry January? Like, I'm thinking where the Critters are playing Thursday. Where are we going?
New Sarepta,
yeah.
Home of Jason Greger.
Yeah, so we're going to New Sarepta. That means you couldn't have a beer on the bus or nothing.
Yeah, there's no chance.
Yeah.
Like, even when I was in university, and it'd be like, maybe I should take a break from the sauce here. Like, this is getting a little out of control. But then it's like you go a week, maybe even 2.
Yeah.
And all of a sudden it's like, oh, well, we got Egg Club ski trip coming up. We got this, we got that. My birthday's at the end of the month, right? So January's tough because like I'm playing hockey, like now, talking now, beer league, it's in the name.
Yes.
I will have a beer after I have a skate. It's just it's how it is.
Do you think you could like go a month here, like say a dry January? Like,
well, I can't because I've already had a drink in January. Several, a lot of them actually.
You could do sober October or something though.
It's no football season's on, and I'm playing beer league hockey in October. I would have, and then in the summer, I'm golfing. I can't go golf and not have a beer out on the course.
So April is this month.
Yeah,
Maybe April's
what
the
month
play.
would it be? Where is the best?
Good question.
The best
Really good.
chance that you have for shutting it down a month.
Josh might be right. It might be like April or something.
Yeah. See, I don't have things.
Then you're gonna have like you get Stanley Cup playoffs right around the corner.
Yeah, but like at this stage of my life, I'm not usually drinking while I'm watching games and stuff. Apart from like maybe a Friday or Saturday, I'll dip in a little bit where I know I can rewatch the game the next day if I get a little forgetful over the course of its entirety. But no, I don't know. I just like I don't drink that much anymore, so I don't really feel the need to take an entire month off for the sake of doing it. Now, listen, Saturday night went over to old Chucky Slicks out into the Sherwood Park Estates.
Yeah.
Played around on the golf sim. Big Saboya was there.
And how many beers did you have?
I had 4 beers in like the 5 hours I was there. And that was perfectly fine.
Rick says slow pitch in April, Duke.
I'm not playing slow pitch.
Well,
in
he
April.
did you say you couldn't do April because of slow pitch or something?
No, I April I think is the one realistic because I'm obviously not playing hockey. To be golfing in April is a real unlikelihood unless we're going out and playing in the terrible weather. Like, listen, I have plenty of times, and if the weather's poor, I am less likely to have a cold beer. Right. So April could happen, and I miss playing slow pitch more, but I only play slow pitch like twice a year now. Usually July 1st, and then in August down in Elnora. I'll say this: if anybody's putting a team together for this summer and needs an ad,
What's the longest you've ever gone without having one beer? Like, I mean,
in my whole life?
Well, just even in the last since you were at U of A.
So, like, since I was 18.
Yeah,
probably a couple weeks. Like, I'm not talking that I'm only going a couple weeks between getting like blackout. But
Penny, what about you? It's the longest. Have you gone a month?
Oh, longer than a month for sure. I think right around 3. There was a time once I did not drink on weekdays. I would only drink on the weekends.
Yeah, that's kind of changed in my life now too. Coming up at the top of the hour, it is Fantasy Frenzy with
the former Rochep T-Bird.
Connor Halley.
Oh, wait, no, there is no Connor Halley today.
No,
I forgot.
Donovan. Donnie P.
Donovan's just lurking at the doorway here. I
here.
completely forgot that Connor was not in today.
Conman's off.
Whoops.
So we got Donnie P.
Is he back tomorrow?
No.
Oh, great. Now I need a 10-point hit for tomorrow. Unbelievable.
Yeah.
Donovan, you're in for Connor tomorrow on the Karius show. Congratulations.
Yeah, you want to come in, Donnie? Yeah, you can come in tomorrow. We'll grease the wheel a bit if you want. 12 o'clock till 2. It's the lowdown with Alan Mitchell. 2 to 6. Jason Greger drives us home with the Jason Greger show. Before all that, time now for a sports 1440 update brought to you by AWS Welding Supplies and Nisku product sales, servicing, calibrating, and free same-day delivery of in-stock items to Leduc and Nisku, South Edmonton. Your one-stop shop for all things welding. That's awswelding.ca. Hey, thanks everyone for listening on a Monday morning. Really appreciate you being along for the ride. Thanks for all the great texts and all the great interaction. Could not do it without you. We'll be back with you tomorrow morning at 7 bells. Until then, have a wonderful rest of your Monday. And here is the Duke.
The Sports 1440 update.
Handful of games in the NHL tonight. The Rangers welcome the Mammoth into Madison Square Garden. Ducks visit the Capitals. Red Wings playing the Senators. That's the Monday night on Prime game. Puck drop at 5:30. Kraken are down the highway playing the Flames, and the Wild head to SoCal to play the Kings. News out of St. Louis this morning is they have signed forward Alexei Toropchenko to a 2-year, $5 million extension. Toropchenko, 5 points in 27 games this season. World Junior Medal games today. Canada playing for bronze when they go against Finland at 2:30. And the gold medal matchup. Long droughts for both Czechia and Sweden. That puck drop coming at 6:30. Black Monday across the NFL. Several coaches on the chopping block. Most recently, Jonathan Gannon let go by the Arizona Cardinals. Earlier this morning, Pete Carroll fired by the Vegas Raiders. Raheem Morris last night was let go by the Atlanta Falcons. And Kevin Stefanski, two-time coach of the year, fired by the Cleveland Browns. The Cincinnati Bengals coming out to say they will be retaining Zach Taylor for next season. 8 games in the association, including the Raptors hosting the Atlanta Hawks. 5:30 tip-off from Scotiabank Arena. Elsewhere, Boston up against the Bulls. The Thunder host Charlotte. Golden State's in SoCal against the Clippers. And Denver, still without Nikola Jokic, plays the 76ers. Coming up on Sports 1440, it is Fantasy Frenzy with Hallie and Douglas. I'm Brandon Douglas at your Sports 1440 update.